Hey guys, thanks so much. 2 o'clock in busy afternoon. Let's jump right into things here. Going to be a lot to discuss coming up in the next 2 hours as we take you through to the close. That's a look at where things stand at this point. Pretty flat day overall, but individual stocks where the action is. S&P 500, as I said, flat, 0.15 to the downside for the Dow. The NASDAQ positive, so that's a good sign heading into the afternoon here. Nice day for Brazil, 1.3, crude 1.3 to the upside as well, and flat for cryptocurrencies. We'll quickly have a look at what's happening over on individual sectors here. I want to start off with the banks because that's where the weakness is coming from right now. The only reason the market isn't up a little bit more than it is right now, individual banks all pretty much in negative territory. Tough to see, but right there is BAC after their earnings, decent. JPM as well, trying to get back to the upside. Citigroup here as well. USB though, ZION, TFC, and PNC leading to the downside. There's State Street, STT 6%, BK as well about 5.8%. Morgan Stanley, nice day, 2.6%. Down here, tech stocks, nice day for software makers, but the semiconductors and also hardware equipment makers all pretty much in negative territory. Xilinx standing out 3.3%, MPWR as well in positive territory. Ford, Randy, 6.8% to the downside today. GM, 2.5% to the downside. Look at Moderna as well down here in the pharmaceutical names. It's been a while since Moderna's had an up day, I feel. Another 5.5% to the downside. Regeneron right beside it there, having a good day though. Offsetting that, Gilead, just noticed there, 1.3% as well. Take Two, obviously big deal, 8.4%. This entire group has been moving around on the ATVI news all week long so far. Quick look at the NASDAQ here before we get into some individual names. I mean, Pinduoduo has been on a tear for the past 3 or 4 days. PDD back to the upside. Lucid with a big day back to the upside. Peloton here, 5% almost to the upside as well. And there's all the software makers, as I said, pretty much all of them in positive territory. We're going to talk about Lucid. We're going to talk about some of the banks coming off of earnings. We're going to talk about SoFi, obviously. Huge day for SoFi on the bank charter news that we mentioned this morning. If you joined us at 8:30, do so. Every single morning we get you set for the open at 9:30. Come up with a plan, talk about what is moving and why and how we're going to trade it when we get to the open. Neil's going to lead the way here this, I almost said this morning. It is now the afternoon, if you weren't aware. Neil's going to talk about one of his trades from this morning.
Yes, sir. And today we're going to talk about a trade in Vinco Ventures. It's been a monster runner the last couple of days, last few days really, and it's just a straight shot to the upside. Anytime something goes from $2, you have 3 massive days in a row. 4th day, we actually make a bit of a high, and then suddenly what goes up sometimes must come down. And when we ended the afternoon show yesterday, it was the first day that we were actually trading in both directions, both looking at longs and short positions, and we got to a key level on the daily chart. And it's just, you go all the way back, and we've been waiting for this price level. Last time it made a push off $2, like 4 separate times it's pushed off $2 in the past. And the last time it got there on the way back down, you have the first cluster of support. Actually, the first high was at 560, and then you had the next high where it then flushed again at about 465, 470. So those were the 2 price levels of concern today. And it would have been a relatively easy trade, but you've got to pick a lane, right? Like you're either scalping, you're holding, or you're going long or you're going short. And I tried to play it a little bit both, and it wasn't until I got away from that it made some more sense to me, because I opened it up when it came down and started breaking through $5. Said, okay, we're headed down towards that 470. Scalped a short. It then barcoded, came right back up into the high. They made a turn, so you get that opening pop and start to flush. I'm like, oh, I'll put that trade on, 515. Scalps them out, okay, comes back and won't break 5. At this point, I'm up slightly on the stock. It's made a bit of a move, but I shouldn't have had that entry down there. So I go back to the well in front of this 520 level with a tight stop and say, okay, I'll just reverse it to the long side and play it to 560. But truth of the matter is, either we're testing this 560 level and breaking, or we're going to get down to that 470. 5 in the middle, back and forth, we can forget about it. And the second that stalled out that long, it just couldn't go. It instantly reversed. It gave you like 5 cents at best. Then you get a sharp consolidation. It still hasn't broken that 560 level. That consolidation break happens, and I simply say, okay, I'm now going to short in front of that same level. Either we take out the top and run to 560, or this is just a short down to that 465 level. It's that simple. So it finally makes the move down. We get some out in the first range, and then we get the capitulation right into that 465 range. And just like the whole premise a lot of times is support turns into resistance and back and forth, once we broke that level, I'm essentially looking to see if it falls even further, can I play that as resistance? So we jump right back into the same trade. It bounces off 425. We then use that same level to start shorting in front, going back to the level on the daily and expecting it to turn into some resistance. Now, the only mistake here was getting up from the desk and putting a tight stop in instead of just trusting it, throwing a stop at 465 and holding on to the trade. You put a trailing stop in. Sometimes you get a price you don't want. Sometimes you get an execution that's lazy, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm out of the short, but I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. I've missed that short trade when I come back, and now I'm thinking about next trade, is there a long opportunity? One thing in this market, when you've had a lot of these names pull back, whether it's a high valuation names, whether it's just simply a small cap that's getting a big pullback like today in Vinco Ventures, look at the first test of even dollar levels. It comes right into 4 on a dime and then bounces off it for a quick scalp trade. Whether it was Virgin Galactic at 10, whether you're talking about AMC the first time at 20, you can look at SoFi last night at 12 even. These trades are starting to come in as you get some of these names with a lot of share volume going to really key levels, and that scalp off the even is really starting to work. But I'll tell you right now, it was more about picking a direction and just getting focused instead of trying to play it both ways, trying to have every little move within a range. Stick to a plan, make sure you're executing that plan, and don't get caught up, especially at 9:30. Thankfully, I got away from it, so Vinco Ventures was the winner today, and guess what? 560 level still in play. If it bases out, we've still got that 560 to play from. I'm not sure Vinco Ventures is done with the amount of volume we're seeing.
Yeah, a good example of support and resistance. We're going to talk about that coming up a little bit later on this afternoon, but a lot of key levels on BBIG getting taken out on the way down there today. That's the watch list, guys. If you have not done so already, absolutely free. All you need is your email address. You can have that every single day. Comes out sometime between 8 and 8:30. We come on then at 8:30 and talk about all the names on that list. We'll start things off with Boeing here real quick. There was this headline about lunchtime, I guess, 12:30 or so it came out. Japanese airline will resume using Boeing 777 flights after 5G rollout. There were some issues with that. You can see there was a huge volume spike that came in around that same time. We're rolling back over a little bit. Boeing having a tough day anyways, 2% after. Nice run back to the upside here, but decent look there for Boeing. Some of the travel names also back to the downside here this afternoon. As we said, you know, the market starting to also, guys, roll over a bit. So travel names getting hit here again.
Yeah, market starting to roll over. And I just want to say, like, great job on, and sometimes even on losing names, right? Like a Vinco Venture or whatever you are. We learn more from our trade of the days. I find anyways, we always sit here and talk about, do we want to take a trade that we have some success on, losing back and forth, in and out. So shout out to some of you there on the chat that like when we refer to trades like that, and I think that that's what's important, right? I mean, it's easy to show winners and discuss them. It's even better to, I think, go through some of our mentality as we trade names like Vinco Venture and things like that. It's not always about the break of a level and then hold it forever, right? So there are different strategies there. So shout out to you guys for that one. I didn't know anything about Boeing. I mean, I didn't really hear that story. It's too loud in here to hear anything that you're talking about. But Boeing today, right now, I don't know. I mean, we've had a nice, where was it, 820. So today, 227 top. I mean, coincides with, I guess we can go all the way back to the 13th. I don't know, something like that. But $230 coming down. I still like Boeing to, for a very, very long-term hold. I mean, I think that you got to have some kind of defense names in here. And I think Boeing does well in this environment. I don't think like people are going to change their mind. And again, I apologize, I couldn't hear what that story was, but I don't think people are going to change their mind at all about buying planes. I mean, whether or not the interest rate's at 1%, 1.5%, 2%, things like that, as long as they get their 737 MAX, and I know there was some engineering concerns there over the last little while. There's some 5G concerns as well. So I just want to say, like, you know, oh man, my chart doesn't even go back any further. I don't know, I guess I got to do the clear the cache thing. But, you know, if we get back down here around 200, I think it's a buy. I just think all this 5G talk probably settles down once they figure it out. There's probably a chip or something in the airplane that they can get that all figured out. And then also, I believe, like, China, Japan, I think I heard you say Japan coming through, US. I believe even Delta, they came out the other day and said they're going to be buying more planes, right? So I think when you have a monopoly like Boeing does there with Airbus, I guess, you know, there's a lot of runway for a stock like Boeing, and I like it. I don't know if I'd buy it on any dips, but let me just check what the PE is here on Boeing. I think it's probably pretty good now that it's come back in. Nah, it's still 40. So still 46 PE, so still could get downside here. But I like Boeing, and I think you got to pick something up on a dip, but I'm not a buyer until at least 200, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It just rejected, speaking of 200, it just rejected the 200 period moving average. So, like, maybe it does have a little bit of a pullback in. I think some of the 5G stuff, I'm not saying it's illegitimate. Some of the concerns, they're definitely real. I mean, but at the same time, like, remember how wrong it was about, like, sort of cell phone usage and interfering with altimeters on the plane and some of those things. That turned out to be a little bit, I don't want to say worry-warding, because it's a serious thing if you're interrupting those processes, but at the same time, the long run, it ended up not being a gigantic issue. So I think it'll be okay on a dip. I mean, on a day where Caterpillar was giving back, you know, like hand over fist, you know, Boeing down 2%. I don't think it's the end of the world here, but it is also rejecting the 200 period. So it gets closer to the 50. I think maybe it's going to be worth something. You're still trying to break out of that downward trend, which, you know, probably requires bouncing off the 50, closing above the 200, and settling in this range a little bit. But Boeing, yeah, it's been a few good green days in a row, so it's just one red here. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but, you know, probably was due for a bit of a turnaround. Not everything goes up every single day.
Yeah, so it was just a note, guys, on Japan clearing the 777 on the 5G issue. So as I was saying that, apparently, the FAA has come out and now cleared 62% of all U.S. fleet to operate near 5G towers as well. They were talking about this in Washington yesterday also. So, yeah, we'll watch some of the travel names. Shift Pixie, little one, doing all kinds of volume this afternoon, up 38%, just made a day high. But let's talk about SoFi, because, yeah, SoFi is having a big day after that bank charter gets secured. Not much to say on the negative side, even for SoFi today.
Yeah, well, C-Ball said the Rams will not make it to Super Bowl. Okay. All right, we got to stop talking about C-Ball here. That thing is on crack. Okay, so let's go here. Boeing. What were we talking? Oh,
we're going to go. Well, no. Well, we're going to go through. I think it's the SoFi, which I'm sure we can talk
SoFi.
about.
Yeah, we can talk about SoFi. 65 cents now in the money on SoFi here, and SoFi's been great, man. This could have been the trade of the day as well. I mean, either way, you're looking at SoFi here. Buy early, out 10 cents, out 50 cents, and now flat. Let it fall down. And once it falls down, we put on our biggest trade right there. Able to get it out for I mean, SoFi is a very profitable name for me today. Buy the dips down to 1350, buy 1350 again, and we're still in the money. Like, honestly, I don't know how many retweets today the sticky note has, probably not that many, but you can see right here. I mean, this is exactly what we talked about. Long back to 1350. Honestly, I don't know what else we could do here other than say Sticky Note Nation for the win. Ask C-Ball about Sticky Note. I mean, huge today, back to 1350. You don't need much more than that. I mean, look at these reloads. Here, 1350, 1350, 1350. It went all the way to 1440. So yeah, I mean, we're still in it. We still have a small piece. You could see when we got out, most of it up here as we approach VWAP. This is how you know your boy has a lot of shares. So we get in, we get out. We don't hold it all the way. Should have. We hold one piece. Would have been nice to get it out, but we honestly thought we were going to the high side. Now, obviously, the NASDAQ has turned itself around, but I like SoFi here. I think it still works. I'm going to be a reloader probably in and around this VWAP area as we come into 1385. It never got low enough down there to hit that 1325 area. But for me, super happy with SoFi today. Yet again, another profitable trade.
Yeah, it didn't give you 25s. It definitely held that level. And again, it's just like you're looking at this resistance on the 15-minute here. And it did pop in. I know a couple of days ago it popped right at the open, just a little bit higher than 25. It got to this 33. And if you look at this pullback here, yeah, it extended a few pennies below 25. So you definitely held this area. I was loading in front of it today. I had to actually step in front because I was trying to get originally 35s in the bid, and it came like a penny or two away. But you eventually got it a few times, and then it bounced back up. Oddly enough, I only shorted it once, and then this was probably too tight of a stop here at that 14.30. I got in, and then I asked myself, no, this isn't, even though that looks like it would be a good entry point, realistically, when I look back at it, I'm seeing this double top previous to today, and that's 14.45, and then the high here at 14.50. So in keeping honest, in being honest with myself, like that short, no, I wouldn't want to play that short unless it was 14.50. And the second I was in it, I'm like, nah, I don't like that. Even though it looks like it's working out here, I think it was the right call to get out because really I would have wanted to risk 10 cents. Maybe 15 in front of the high of the day if I was making that kind of a play. It's similar to Vinco Ventures. Like if I'm going to the long in front of $4, like am I going to go long at 410 at 412? Nah, I'm going to go long at 401, 402, 403 if that's the type of trade I'm making against the trend and I want to have a really tight stop. So I know it's pulling back now, but guess what? Still holding right around that 14 level. Sometimes when news is anticipated, although the date isn't always going to be certain, it becomes to sell the news event, especially if it gets into resistance. But it's still a pretty bullish day for SoFi, given how well it held up. Like it did not crack. If it had gone back into like this consolidation level around like 1280 or so, I think we'd be telling a little bit of a different story about how well it held up.
Let's talk about the chip makers here because the market's rolling over, continuing to sell down to the downside. But some of the chip makers tried to bounce late in the morning through lunchtime. But also, we're seeing some of these move back lower again. I'm just watching NVIDIA here, trying to hold on to 255, but not doing so well at that. I mean, where is support here? If you look at any of these daily charts, it looks like a lot of these have broken key levels. We get the first of the chip makers with earnings today. ASML, decent report, but a lot of these coming back to the downside.
I just want to. Might as well. I mean, I took a $6 or $7 win here on NVIDIA, so we could talk about that quickly. Yeah, you have to. I mean, Brendan, you talked about finding an area of support. I mean, I think 250 maybe. I'm not even looking at a daily chart. Just trying to use like psychological levels. We talked about this on Prad's show, and I hope a lot of you took this. Look where we take it, man. All the way here, 250, 250. Right out 257.50, so actually $5 right there clean all the way back up. And I mean, I think it made a lot of sense too because we take the long and we hold it all the way, and then once it breaks VWAP back to the downside, we get out. So we're getting very, very close to a reload position as well. And then I have no idea why we didn't average into this AMD, but we just hit this real well today. We found 132 as a level of concern, and then we never traded off of that again. So 132 a couple times, bang, bang, bang. My number one stock, I think, net-wise, actually, AMD and NVIDIA are percentage points away from each other for top trade here today. So you could see bang to the upside. One is a scalping trade, made the same money there on AMD as we did going long and holding for 550 on NVIDIA. So no matter how you do it, man, we skin the cat two ways. We scalp AMD and we hit NVIDIA and hold the home run. So either way, man, chip stock's number one for me today.
Yeah, and like if you think about what ended up happening today, the turn in the market started because ASML was up, and I think a lot of the names in the morning were strong. Like NVIDIA was breaking out, it held that 260 level, it started breaking up, and then when ASML rolled over, because they're such a strong name in the chip, not supply, but in the chip machine building, it's just you're below that 200 period. And the second it tried to bust back up, it got all the way up to like 237 here. And it does trade in Amsterdam, by the way. So, it's basically slowed down since the European close. But when it rejected that level in the morning, pushing back and it could not hold through, it just had a huge turn. That's what it looks like, all this chop in the 15. And then once it started to clear to the downside, this is what that 1 minute. And right about this time that it broke the opening range bottom is when the big rollover happened in almost every single name. It's caught a bottom. for now off of 700 because I think that's just a round number. But that's a pretty big 700 level on ASML. I think if that goes, this was the reason why when asked about AMAT, which I like, yesterday, someone said, are you buying dips on AMAT? And I said, well, I'm not doing a thing until we see how ASML does, because obviously they're a completely related name. And the first to report the earnings to come through, it was an impressive report because they did have a fire at one of their plants that could have depressed earnings, and they still actually put up good numbers. So the market reaction selling it off. And I said, well, yeah, it's intriguing AMAT at that 50 period, but if ASML tanks off earnings, well, you might be able to pick it up at 140, 142, or at the 200, which is right at the bottom of the same range that it's been in since breaking out in early November. So a lot of times, always understand like what's reporting when and what's going to cause related moves. Because I wasn't sitting there predicting that ASML was going to be bad. I just simply said, I want to see what happens. If I didn't know an AMAT, it would have been a different story because you could initiate at the 50 period. But it's more about being patient in this kind of a market and then allowing some of these to come back into you. But that's a huge trend reversal from a name that's, look, a lot of people have been touting ASML, and I think it's a great company. Probably not traded around here a lot because it's so expensive, but it has managed to move the market quite significantly with that turnaround.
Yeah. Let's talk Luckin Coffee. Blast from the past time, because we haven't talked about this. And I just saw, guys, it was 2 years ago, if you can believe it, that this thing was delisted from the NASDAQ. The Wall Street Journal today reporting that Luckin Coffee is exploring plans to relist once again on the NASDAQ. And it says, as soon as the end of this year, we could see them back on the NASDAQ. It was June, if you remember, of 2020. And then 6 months later, the company agreed to pay $180 million in fines to settle that accounting fraud charge with the SEC. But is Luckin back?
Wow. Well, I mean, the price action today, if you're trading on the OTC, like it certainly performed pretty well. Obviously, made a couple of bounces. I mean, at about 11 o'clock, it had a full dollar pop, 10% move to the upside. It then had a consolidation, then broke to 1250. I guess until you see an actual, okay, they're listing on, it's coming back on this day. At that point, you start thinking about, okay, well, what's the valuation? And some of the fundamentals will come back into it. A lot of the trading, if you've never traded the OTC markets, it's a pure momentum. It's a very momentum-driven overall market. So you do see like very huge, like V-shaped moves all over the place. Clearly, any kind of an uplisting is generally going to be good news for just about any stock. But it still does, I guess, carry some of the risk that was still there when it got the delisting from a fundamental standpoint. But at the same time, I think when it comes back to the New York, if it comes back to the NASDAQ, that's going to be a positive event. I expect volume around that event when it does happen. It's died down here in the OTC, so I'm not really sure there's going to be too many trades, as it's pretty much ground to a halt after all the action we saw earlier on in the day. So maybe not a trade there, but we should be looking out to see a firm date as to when it is coming back to market, if at all.
Yeah, a good name today, but again, a little too violent. Like, I look at the pink sheets, but $10 all the way up to 11 and then straight back down. So that's nasty. There's really no money to be made there unless for somehow you're able to. The spread alone is 15 cents right now on Luckin. So for me, it's going to be a hard pass, but a great name and a great name to come back to the NASDAQ. It will provide liquidity. And then when it comes back to NASDAQ, everyone will just sell this thing back down to $1. So Luckin Coffee, nicely done. It's got as high as $18 there. We'll see where it goes from here, but hey, I don't know. I just feel like when it does come back to the NASDAQ, this thing gets sold off again. So let's see where it goes. They had an accounting fraud. So there's only $300 million fraud or something like that. It wasn't that huge. But now that they've got things sorted out, hey, maybe it does come back to the NASDAQ and kick spot. We'll have Jeff Mendel from the OTC next time he's on. We'll talk about that. But they're pretty proud. They had Hertz. I think it was HTZ. I think it's just Hertz. Is that on the New York or NASDAQ? Yeah, so Hertz went down there at I believe, about $1. Came back. It's now $22. So, you're going to see a lot of movement here in these pink sheets. I want to talk to them about pricing and things like that, what happens when it turns over. But there's Hertz again. I'm going to clear my cache because I think this came back. Maybe it did come back November 1st. But anyways, Hertz back 28. And you can see what happens, right? It came back, made some highs, and now it's, heading back southbound. So we'll see what happens here with Luckin Coffee. An exciting name. It should be a good liquidity event.
Let's go on to bank earnings because we got some more today. Just watching BAC here kind of grind along day lows. But Morgan Stanley, BAC, the big ones, both still positive on the day. MS, though, far more exciting than whatever this is right now.
BAC, whatever
that was. I mean, I traded Morgan Stanley today. I think we might have the only bank trade. You didn't? No, you didn't
BAC had to go to it had to get above 49, I think, to get interesting, and it never really did.
No, we had Morgan Stanley. It was interesting around $100. I mean, that was the key level there, short, and out. So it's not a huge monumental trade. I would have loved to be able to hold on to this. I actually, truth be told, we had too many orders there at 98, but we should have let it fall down. We did have a 95.50 bid, but it doesn't matter. We don't have the trade on. But I think Morgan Stanley just continues to get beat up a little bit. The banks were bad, man. I mean, it's nicely, this is 2%, but remember where it's coming from. It was 108 a week ago. So now you're coming back down. So 108 down to 95. I mean, you're trimmed off $12 on 108, so you're down about 12% or so on that. Yeah, $12, right? Downside. So I stepped in today and I tweeted it out. Hopefully you guys can find me on Twitter at TraderTV Sean. I went in and I told you I was underweighted on banks. Went in and bought Goldman Sachs at a flat $350 price. So it's a starter position here on Goldman Sachs. We paid $350 for it. We'll see where it goes. That was pretty good at one point as it went up for us, but this is a long-term hold. I like Goldman Sachs, 2.25% dividend. And has pulled back a hell of a lot. I think this is the best bank, but I mean, again, when I look at this chart, it's just I got to deploy some capital at some points. This thing could still tank huge. This is just, let's start a position here in Goldman Sachs. So we're in about, we're in about 15% or so of what eventually I'd like to get into. But again, I'm way underweight banks, so we'll take a shot on Goldman. That's my first call right now. Maybe a little bit too early on this, but we'll see where banks go tomorrow. I think regionals report tonight. Those are going to be horrendous as well. So just watch out for what banks are about to do. We've already called, that the top was there last week. I think it was prudent to trim some of those positions and then buy back now.
I think we need to because we always say banks. We need to make a clarification because if we're talking about Morgan, JPM, and Goldman Sachs, those are not banks that are about lending money. They're trading banks, right? So if you look at some of the ones where most of what they do is lending, then I think those perform a heck of a lot. They performed a heck of a lot better, right? So if you make that distinction, they haven't had the same big multiples when trading was going nuts and there was so much activity drummed up by the Fed. There has been that distinction. And I look at something, and I'm only going to talk about TD because that's just a chart I pulled up, and it's a name here in Canada which has fared pretty well. They haven't had really a pullback, so it's something which gets said a lot. I know the word bank can mean a lot of things, but understand that difference in those businesses, right? You're going to have Morgan Stanley, JP, and Goldman Sachs are going to be prone to pulling back a little bit more so than in an interest rate environment like we have hopefully this year, if everyone's right. Where traditional banks are going to continue to perform well. They just haven't had the same pullback. So there is a little bit of a difference there off those highs. I can't really say any of the ones in Canada have done anything. I'm a little different. I probably am more conservative. So I would call myself slightly overweight in banks, mostly probably due to when I started buying some of the Canadian banks that I'm into more than anything else. But overall, there is that distinction that does need to be made.
All right, let's go on to DWAC here because, no news again today, but huge move back to the downside. It's been on such a tear over the past week and a half. Technically, this is really not that bad overall. If you look at a daily chart, it's 8% yes, but we're just basically giving back what happened yesterday for DWAC volume a little bit lighter here as well. But back to day lows actually as we speak.
Well, it's not even giving back yesterday, is it? No, it's not. Because yesterday was it broke 74s yesterday. So in a lot of ways, I think the writing was sort of on the wall, and I'm kind of kicking myself for, I guess, the way that we looked at it. Because once it was above 90, there was two things to watch. It was 90 and it was 95. And 95 was up on the daily. And that never really came into play because we got up to 93.80. And even that was very early in the pre-market at 8:15. When we started the morning show, I was like, look, either it's a fade off 95 and then a breakout at 95 to 100, or it's a 90 short. And then when 90 short happened, it just sort of came in pretty quickly. I looked right back to this consolidation, and I trade ranges a lot. when I see it. So when I see the afternoon, this is 90 top, that's a 90 break. The bottom of that in the afternoon pullback was about 85 or so. It's like, just get in, get out. And instead of just saying, hey, this is a pullback on a stock that went $15, maybe it's going to give more than 5, I simply said, free money in the range, try and do a scalp long in front of 85. And once I went long once, I think that's like, sometimes it's a kiss of death to your bias, right? Like, you do it one time, and that can get you away from the notion of, but you came in liking a short on that breakdown at 90. And then once it happens one time, and then looking for a bottom again. So you get away from what was probably a better plan, which is just to stick with the direction you like. That's why I was sort of going over Vinco Ventures, because if you get all that wash in the middle, when it was pretty clear, like if it didn't break the top at that key level on Vinco Ventures, it was just like, no, this is a short. And the same thing kind of happened in DWAC, even though I did reverse into a couple of longs, which essentially went nowhere. And guess what? We're right back to that support from yesterday, which it's been broken a couple of times at 78.5, but never really traveling more than $1 here. So 77.50 is the current low. It looks like it's going to be retesting that, but it's shown some signs of bouncing. So it's given back a lot of yesterday's action, but this low, like this higher low that it put in at about 11 o'clock, right when we ended our morning show yesterday, that's been respected pretty well. So if it holds that today, you're still in an upward channel technically, even if it's been a short day here in DWAC and down 8.5%. I mean, this thing was $50 a week ago. So, all things with a grain of salt, that's still a 50% return in a matter of days.
Yeah, we destroyed DWAC yesterday. Haven't traded it today. We were long. We took a $9 win or whatever it was. And then today, you're down here to $78 again. This is just a long. There's really no other way to talk about it. It's a long down here, 78. If it breaks it, you get out. That's DWAC. It looks like it probably will break, but hey, nothing wrong with trying a long down here. I think we can put it in. And if you lose, you lose your 60, 70 cents plus slippage, give it like about $1 on the downside, and you have much more upside here than $1. But I don't know, the volume's pretty deadsville right now. So unless there's some way that this wants to pop again, yesterday we were in it early, allowed me to watch it. And then today it hasn't been on my radar. So you do have a great bottom here. 78 is just sticking out like a sore thumb here. So I think you get long DWAC now and you just wait to see what happens at that 78 level. It's pretty straightforward here on DWAC today, guys. It's just, there was one trade. It looks pretty obvious when you look back. It was just this 90 break, key levels. Just like if you like a 100 break, that short was cash money. I'm pretty sure. We can go back to Brendan. He had the trade on this name for sure. I don't know where you were short, Brendo, but that was a great trade up here. Maybe you're short like 93, 94 against 95. That could be a trade as well, but obviously you're going to give DWAC a couple dollars worth of break range there if you're trading it up around here, and then look at the reward, a big time reward to the downside. So I'll just throw it back to you, Brendan. Where did you have that short on DWAC?
It was through yesterday's high. I think it was lower than that. Hold on. Bear with me. There we go. I can show you over here. Yeah, it was through yesterday's high, which was, I think, was 91.5. So, it was just the amount of volume that came in on the sell side as we broke through that support early on this morning just was all signs go for me on the downside. So, yeah, it was a great trade to the downside. Bonus round here. UL. Wanted to talk about UL here quickly because they came out, I think it was about as we wrapped up the morning show or maybe a little bit later, saying they will not increase that offer for GSK's consumer arm. So UL had a huge move to the downside yesterday on that news. And I wanted to show you this spike here. So that was when that news came out, that they will not increase that bid. So it's holding 50 once again here, trying to bounce as we speak, guys, for Unilever.
I remember you bring that news, and look, again, this is the kind of like that thing that you thought was going to happen when PayPal pulled out of Pinterest, where if the market didn't like a deal, and then you say, well, in this case, it wasn't them pulling out of it. It was simply them saying they're not going to up the bid. It's like, okay, great. The market was not liking it at all and punishing them for it. So you get that volume spike. But it's like all flash news. A lot of times it just pulls right back into it. It's already held $50. I think maybe there's a trade they're off 5-0 because there's some volume. But I think that your real move there when you see flash news like that is to just kind of find the first obvious turn point. It did try to break 51. It goes literally through 50 to 51, and then gave you two shots here, 95, 95, back to back here off that 51 level, and then pulls right back into previous highs. But the bigger story, it might be there that, if the market thinks you overpaid, just watch out for those headlines. This is what I thought PayPal was going to do. Clearly, it was just a different environment when they pulled out of the Pinterest deal, I suppose, because tech was turning around. It didn't make a difference what they did. But Unilever, the real story, if you saw, this is what I meant by the market was simply just punishing them over and over yesterday for that. So I guess when that headline hit, it was pretty easy for the algos to hit that long.
Okay, we are now into DWAC. So we're long at 78.60 right now. Let's see where we go. Obviously, the market pulling back down. We are going to take a DWAC trade right now and then just see where it goes. We have 78 marked. I'm just going to use 78 flat. I mean, I realize there's a bottom here of 77.50. Yeah, I mean, if that happens to us and we get out, then that's what happens if we get out. So we'll wait to see what happens with this one. We're already long, and we're in the money right now, 20 cents. But that's nothing for Mr. DWAC. So let's just get ready to rock and roll here with this name. And then another name that I want to talk about, what was it? Oh, SoFi, before we go, because people are looking for new trades. 14 right here, a break of this. 14.03, we're going long, a big position on SoFi. So let's see what happens here on this 14.05 break or so for SoFi. We're going to go long if that does happen. So we're going to watch out for that one back to about, and if it's wrong, like, 10 cents or so. It's going to be too big of a position for me to hold it all the way back down here. So let's see if SoFi wants to rock and roll here, breaking back through 14.03. So I'm looking at that for SoFi.
You hear the term support and resistance very frequently on our live show. We're going to talk about some ways that you can easily identify some key levels, whether you're working on the long side or short side. We're talking support and resistance, guys. Here comes a few tips on how to make support and resistance easier.
Yeah, and I think everyone talks about it. Supply and demand rules the market, right? So you want to buy in front of support, you want to sell in front of resistance, and it seems like an easy thing in theory. In practice, it's not always that, but there are ways to make it a little bit more simple. First, identify something that's moving, and once you've done that, it doesn't really matter what the stock is. A lot of times, just using price history is significant. So what I do, and this is just something that happened to move the last couple of days, so I can quickly show you a big move up, and this happens to be a penny stock, and then a big pullback today. But it's that first big candle yesterday that I want to hone in on. Because as it moves to the upside, you're asking yourself, okay, where is support and resistance? Is it this wick here, going back to like 35 cents in December, or do I look at the last time it had a major move? And the last time it had a major move, let's highlight this, from 60 cents all the way down to 35 in just a couple of days. That is a major move. And then what happened after that? It then consolidated, and then you had a very tight range where price acceptance happened with a top of about 42. So you got about 40 to 42 cents here in this consolidation range. I then bring you all the way back to what happened in yesterday's action when it made that spike. It goes right into that level, 40 cents, could not get to the 42, and then puts in a reversal. So when you're looking for a resistance level, when a stock starts moving, go back and check a couple of things. The last time it had a big move, are there significant levels that are in play the last time it had that big move? The last time it had a big volume spike, what were those levels that were in play? Find a consolidation off of that, and then that's a good level. And you could wait for it to fail here twice. It tested it once, it tested it again, and it was about as easy a pullback trade as you're going to make looking at the chart. But you're only going to find that level if you went from your 1 minute or 3 minute looking at that day, and then going back into the daily chart and just scanning until you saw a significant event, and then it happened to work out. Guess what? If it doesn't go to that price, maybe you don't have to make the trade, but it ended up going into that resistance level identified on the daily, and then it was a clean pullback from there. So that's a little way to simplify it. Find those significant price levels on volume and volatility in the recent price history of any given stock.
I mean, I have a live example right here. We're doing it live for you right here on the show. I mean, how about DWAC? I mean, just find a name that's moving, an active name. You can check it out on the sticky note on our watch list, anything like that, and then just keep it as simple as possible. I mean, that's the point of this talk. As easy, made easy, right? So how about this? I mean, look, it comes down, it absolutely tanks. It finds a bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times here at 78. So what do, man? is easy peasy, lemon squeezy here. You take the long and then you get out. So there it is. So we have long at 78.50. We take the smooth dollar rate there. Why? Our risk reward. And that's another thing when you're talking about support resistance. Look, support's going to break, right? I mean, support's not going to hold all the time. This looks great when it works. But the thing is, if I go long at I'm long here at 78.60. So if I go long there at 78.60 and my out's going to be 78, you give a little bit of slippage. I mean, I could see here it's already 20 cents. So let's say about 80 cents worth of slippage. Well, there we go. We just took a 95-cent winner on the first half. So covering already. If it comes back down, then Bob's your uncle. We wash the trade and we're flat on it. But if it keeps on moving to the upside, this is support made simple. Take the 1-to-1 risk to reward first off your support level. If it goes, fantastic. We can have a huge win. But if it comes back down and support doesn't hold, then we get out. So that's what it is. You flip the chart back around and it's resistance, right? So I think that's pretty simple. I'm just using a 1-minute chart. You can use whatever time frame you want, but just look to see where we were on a daily chart and on a minute chart. And if it's just this simple, then take the trade. And again, try it in paper trading, be comfortable with the stock. But the one thing though, Brendan, which is always going to be true, you need to do it on names that have volume and names that are moving, because we could call up numerous charts today. There's always going to be support and resistance. But if you're the only trader looking at those levels, then hey, they probably don't matter that much. So that's my tip. Easy levels and a stock that's moving on the daily.
Love the concept of keeping it simple, not overcomplicating it, because it can get very, very complicated. Wanted to throw one more thing in at the end here. What if we remove one side of the trade entirely? So you're only then looking for key levels either on the long side or the short side. And I'm speaking of a trend. I'm going to show you a daily chart here of BKKT. This is a daily chart, remember? So this thing has been doing nothing but going straight down since November. So why are we even thinking about possibly being long this in such a severe downtrend? And then it's just as Sean was saying, they're going back out to a higher time frame, Neil as well, and identifying key levels to join the trend. So whether you are trying to find intraday key support levels or simply just identifying a stock that is very, very strong and very, very weak, we're looking for ways to make it easier, guys. So removing even one side of a trade and just focusing on the obvious is a way to do that. Hope that helps on identifying support and resistance a little bit easier. Let's talk about a few of these. There was a lot of them today, these small caps that were moving around, including that BKKT. There was SBEV as well that I just actually noticed is trying to get back above VWAP here after holding some key levels as well. So, I mean, 55 million shares for SBEV is a lot. BKKT only at 15 million, but a lot of small caps moving around today as well.
Yeah, I want to come to SBEV in a quick second, but BBIG just it double bottomed at $4. It's on the way to VWAP, it looks like, but it just got to 440, and I'm going to run away and take that for sure. We talked about sort of grabbing that $4 level, even dollar levels on the way back on some of these names have been really good. Maybe it gets to VWAP, maybe it doesn't, but I go right back to that 465, 475, and if I think that's a shortable area, then I want to make sure I'm getting out of this one right now. SBEV, that was more on, I would say it's more on the frustrating side today, because once again, I tried to play this in both directions, and it's like you just said, like take one side of the equation out of it, right? I like the long. I was scalping the long in the morning off of 445. It's okay, we got a win, and then we take the last third out for a loss. And then I decided to short it off the top. Then I decided to reverse. And it's like, okay, well, I lost the short and made on the long. And at that point, what do we have here? You've got a $5 failed break, right? Which is usually, like, that's a gold standard for me. Like, I absolutely love levels like that. Breaks 5, failed break. I'm usually thinking about a short all the way in a stock. Because I've gone 0 for 1 on shorts and 2 for 2 on the longs, what do I try to do? I try to pick up a long trade again. So this is where you can get away from it. And the other lesson I think that can be made there is, well, don't get away from what your A+ setup is. If my literal favorite setup is a failed breakout at the open at a key level, trapping longs, well, then when that happens at $5 on SBEV, well, that's, 9 times out of 10, I'm shorting it. So why am I looking for a dip buy? So again, obviously, like the early longs, they can have won, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right thing. The market loves to reward you for doing the wrong thing. And you can get tricked by, like, if this had continued to 550, I'd be sitting here talking about, I'd be saying the same thing, even if it had worked. And I think that just has to be true in that particular case. Now it's more or less dead for the day, but it's worth mentioning. If you go back to 8 a.m. or about 8:30 or so when it dipped down, it managed to hold this level about 11 o'clock or just before 11 o'clock, 395 or so, held pretty well, and it's bouncing back to the upside. So a retest of 5 at the top, certainly in play here. We just saw Vinco Ventures bounce a little bit. It's trying to get back up towards some of the recent highs. This is a little bit stronger here, SBEV, but ultimately could retest 5. I think I'm going to this time be shorting it in front of that level, obviously, as I just said.
Here we go. DWAC, the money machine, is in the building. Again, we gave you that trade down to 78. It's at 80.30 right now. So we're in the money now, $1.60 on this trade. We took out that first bid. Let's just see where we go. I'm still going to hold this. I mean, maybe we get a bump up again today on DWAC. I believe this is the way you trade this name. So let's just keep on watching it. Upside move right now. And then, by the way, we told you, like, this is what I mean. I don't have a problem giving you guys these trades, man. Like I told you that when we would take this trade on SoFi, that we would hammer it. It would be our biggest position all day. And there it is, SoFi. We hit it, man. We're long at 03, and we're just cashing this thing out. 10s, 11s, 9s, 7s, 8s, whatever, man. Let's just keep on going to the upside. We have half the position left. Let's see if it continues to go, man. SoFi up here. Hopefully we can get a bid, like in the 25s, something like that. 30s for SoFi would be absolutely fantastic. Oh, yeah, look at DWAC just continuing to go now. 80.50 for DWAC. So, yeah. Money. It's just flowing in. So let's wait to see where SoFi goes. I'm a little bit puzzled here because it's not going. So that's one thing here that's bothering me a little bit. You can see the NASDAQ just did a nice bump up. I thought SoFi would have followed, but SoFi kind of followed. But that's coming from VWAP here. So I'm well aware that we could test lower. My out was going to be down in here, but I'm thinking now, like, maybe even a break back below 14. I don't need to turn this. This has already been a really good winner. So let's not turn this too bad. We'll try to get SoFi out back downside now if it breaks back through 14. Yeah, I mean, even 14. I mean, I could even do 14.05 now to make sure we keep some of this win. But here we go. Let's see if SoFi wants to go. See, it's like it doesn't want to go. It goes to 10s by 11s and then completely stops. So I'm actually offering a 12 right now. I'll cancel my 14s. But so far, so good here on SoFi. Let's see how high we can get up. I'm out if it breaks back down below 14 flat, guys.
And Nick there, yeah, it's... Look, obviously, like, everyone can trade differently, but we're always happy to, like, give you different types of ideas, different price levels on all kinds of names, right? So it's not about trading one style or another. It's just about showing you what we're looking at and the more along the why, right? Like, it's, like sometimes if it's just simply I'm buying in front of a gigantic size, like I'm not going to say I'm buying at $4, and if there's 1 million shares in the bid, I'll tell you it's 1 million shares in the bid. If it's because it's a level in the daily, that's what matters. But to that story, there's another one from this morning that was on our watch. I think Vine made the watch list. That's at Winemaker, the watch list this morning. It's come back. And speaking of names coming back to VWAP, I did reload this before, just after we got it back on the show. But we got about $7 was resistance earlier on. But if you look at the re-entry I got in the morning, it was about 685 here, the last entry point, and that's the level I'm playing off of. We couldn't get past 685 at about 940, and it's been pushing down ever since. It got about 10% to the downside and has been grinding back up. So this reload, I got it at 73. I'm risking to that 85 level, and hopefully we can push back down. So I'm going back to a range that worked before, but if you look, it's forming a bit of a wedge here. So if it were to break 85, I'm not holding it to 7 forget about holding it to like a 750 wick. But another name from earlier this morning in play. And as I mentioned on Vinco Ventures, when I start talking about that level from before, it would have been great if it got to 465 VWAP, but got to be able to take it out, on that bounce and say the trend was still back to the downside. This is its first down day of the week. And even going back into last week for it's a first down day in 5 days, I believe. So when that happens, like either it breaks back above 65 or the trend is still kind of down. So there was a good long off for. I still believe that it has a chance to be another short off of that 65 level. So I'm not getting into a short unless it's in front of 65. 440 is a little bit far away from me.
Okay, yeah, let's go. SoFi still in that one, and we just got some out at 8. Look at the NASDAQ. Now it's starting to come back down, so we didn't get our 12 fill. So now I'm just going to wait for 12 and then wait for something else. People asking about AMD in the chat. So AMD was a great reload at VWAP one more time, and we missed it. I was really only looking long. I've seen the NASDAQ battle back all day, man, and I was like, okay, we're down here only looking long because the NASDAQ wasn't near its VWAP, right? So, kind of tricked a little bit there on that AMD trade. I would have loved to go short on AMD for that. And then DWAC still $1 in the money. It's come back off a little bit, but I'm willing, that's it. Like, we'll go flat on DWAC if we have to, but I mean, I'm going to wait to see if it takes out 78. If it does, we down on that one. So just a couple trades. I know we have Justin coming up soon. I did want to pound Ford if it did, because Ford, for some reason, I asked Randy, he didn't know what was going on either. So Ford right now, I'm going to go long 22.72 or so break. We're bouncing off right now. I've added, just in case you guys are wondering here on the 1 minute chart, I've added a 50 period moving average on here. So it's going to take the last 50 periods of a 1 minute chart, right? And give me that moving average. So I just wanted to watch it, see how Ford rode it all the way down and then finally broke it. So there's little things like that I want to use this for. I have it on my e-signal chart and just wanted to sort of throw it up there. So if you see some new levels here, that's VWAP. So the blue is going to be VWAP. And then that's just an exponential moving average, but set to a 50 length, but on a 1 minute. So you guys can get a little bit more here as why we're doing that. And like, if I were to get long, I just want to see this little wick here. I think we can, normally I'd wait for 80s, but I really think that if we take this little level out here back in, like, just a little bit higher than 70, then we can go long and then hopefully have it back. And, if we're wrong, we get out in the 60s there. Another trade we're looking for the long side is going to be Softy. We absolutely destroyed we're getting close, I think, for a long year. We destroyed Microsoft. We came here and we're 0750 out 10s. So that's a $3 winner there, 350 or so on that side. So we're looking to see, can it get going and break this? The level that I actually looked at was a 309 clean break, which is right here. So if we can break through 309 to the upside, then we will take that on Softy. So that's what we're looking at. DWAC still. Let's go spin it, although Randy's in the background there. We'll spin it for DWAC, $1.50 in the money as it just keeps going. Guys, I'm just giving you trades like one in, a couple outs. If we have to average in, we do. I'm sure by now you know my style, but there it is on DWAC.
Yeah, and a couple of names still on the move here. That PIXI just turned around off $2. $2 to 165 is a pretty clean range. It just put in a bit of a capitulation. It looks like this is rounding out for the day. The only thing that's going to stand in your way, I'm going to quickly show you a level 2, is this guy right here at 170. There's 140,000 shares on that bid. So if I would be short this name already if I didn't see this guy. So I'm either shorting it at 175 or I'm waiting for 170 break, scalping it down into VWAP. You can definitely sit on the bid. I haven't seen if this guy's legit. Like, I haven't seen him take a fill or anything like that. So stepping in front of it, I think do so at your own risk. Although that trade has worked in the past, but you can see volume. Hopefully you guys can see that. Volume starting to dry up. And with a level like that, I think if that were to go, you're going to get a pretty easy retracement into 160. Brendan?
All right, there he is. Mr. Kozuch is back to discuss some topical headlines that have come across since we last spoke. Good to see Justin once again. Instagram trying to jump on the subscription channel here. We mentioned a little bit at the top of the show there. Justin, tell us about this because, this is not, new news, as we like to say, but it goes back to November. They actually announced they were going to do this. So now we're getting the first tests, I guess.
Right. So Facebook announced, I guess, recently that they were doing subscriptions. And obviously, any feature that they test on Facebook, they're eventually going to test it on Instagram. And this is exactly what's happening now. 10 U.S. creators, only 10 U.S. creators will be able to offer subscription-based content through exclusive live videos and stories on Instagram. It's kind of a cool idea. They can choose their own price point, anywhere between 99 cents a month to $99.99 a month. Subscribers will be able to get subscriber-only content and will be identified as such in comments and get a lot more visibility. This industry is ridiculous. It's $100 billion. There was a research done by NeoReach and the Influencer Marketing Hub, and they found that 72% of content creators prefer Instagram, which is, I'm sure, making Facebook or Meta or whatever they're called this week,
Okay.
making them very happy. So certainly makes sense for Instagram to say, if our audience or if the content creator world uses our platform primarily, let's see if we can help them monetize some of it. So smart move. Very curious to see what they do with this. So maybe get Trader TV on there and start doing some more paid content there.
Yeah. They're taking the YouTube approach, I guess, as far as the payments are concerned. Very, very similar, which is to be expected. But I mean, a start. It's only 10, as you said, but a start for something that is probably much needed, as you said, a monster industry and an ever-growing and ever-expanding industry. So, why not capitalize?
Right, and these little tests that they do, these are always great proving grounds for seeing how the product is used and how it can be improved and so on. And certainly within the next few years, we can, hopefully sooner, we should be able to see something that vaguely resembles a more global rollout. So should be interesting for sure. I'll keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, we'll keep tabs. Let's go to Google because they're shying away, I guess, from the banking side of things again. Right.
So speaking of money, they have brought on a former PayPal executive, what's his name, Arnold Goldberg, to run their payments division. This is a sort of an interesting move. They are looking to see if they can start to integrate crypto in some of their Google Pay products. Their Google, the Google's president of Commerce, Bill Reddy, said that they said that crypto is something that we pay a lot of attention to, and they're looking for ways to do more of these partnerships. Makes a lot of sense when you start to consider that. The president of the American Bankers Association, Rob Nichols, said in a blog post that they are looking for ways to help banks offer, sell cryptocurrency to customers. So certainly a really, really interesting move. Nice to see the banks starting to pay a little bit more attention to cryptocurrency. Of course, the downside to that, the other R word that nobody likes, regulation. With a lot of these sorts of things comes the bigger push for regulation, and regulation of cryptocurrency is certainly something that's been discussed south of the border. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two sort of butt heads and see where it goes from there. So good to see that it's getting adoption, but certainly regulation will be a topic that everyone is keeping an eye on.
Yeah, we've had a lot of guests, obviously, on this show talking in this sense about how it's needed, first of all. I love that you threw in our work chat here about, whether or not any of the audience would agree in the sense of maybe we should throw up a poll on the regulation side, whether you're for or against regulations in the crypto market. But the argument, simply from the institutional side is that you'll get just a massive inflow of funds into these markets once we do get more structured regulation around them.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's arguments for and against for sure. So I don't have a position on this one yet, but I do think that it is great that more traditional financial institutions are starting to look at crypto as a product that they can offer. I think it'd be really cool for people to be able to go into a bank and say, "I'd like to buy X amount of crypto." I've seen startups offer, part of their salary compensation is being offered in crypto. I think that'd be a pretty cool thing. I'd love to get part of my paycheck in crypto. Maybe there's something that we can do with that. So good to see that there's certainly mass adoption coming. But like I said, regulation is certainly something that we need to keep an eye on. Good times.
Yeah, it's and I mean, it's simply from the tax side of things, right? Like they have to be in line with the tax man at the end of the year, and the only way that's ever going to happen is if it is properly regulated. We had a very important discussion early on this morning on the morning show regarding a new app that the government of Canada has come out with in order to make access to mental health help a little bit easier. I mean, you had some interesting thoughts on this. Please expand on those here this afternoon. But if anyone missed it this morning, this was the headline from the government of Canada.
Right. So, certainly the pandemic, I mean, everybody, the pandemic has made mental health certainly more of not a conversation piece, but certainly has brought the struggles of Canadians suffering from with mental health challenges to the forefront. More Canadians are reporting greater declines in their mental health. Those between the ages of 15 to 24 reported a 20% dip or 20% decrease in their mental health. Women doing worse than men. 52% of women are reporting greater declines, and as opposed to, 52% of women, over 58% of men. So, you know, this is something that is just, it has taken root, and it has certainly grown. We're social creatures. We are not meant to be, you know, always inside. So the government of Canada is recognizing that, you know, that there's an opportunity here to help improve the mental health of Canadians. An app is a great way to start. There's lots of other things that need to be done, and without, you know, without being too political on it, these things, there needs to be a greater push for services and supports, and eliminating some of the wait times that Canadians are experiencing. So hopefully these types of services, these and others, are certainly coming, or more of them will be coming, and hopefully that will help alleviate some of the strain that the Canadian healthcare system is currently facing through mental health and through the ongoing Omicron virus.
Yeah, well said. A very important conversation, obviously, for anyone you know, who wants more information on this. It's called Pocket Well, guys, by Wellness Together Canada. Green Space Mental Health Limited, I guess, is the company behind that. But I believe, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, both Android and iOS for this.
Correct. Yeah, launching on both platforms. So nice to see the Pixel crowd getting well represented by our Canadian government.
Hey, I'm in that club, my friend. I'm in that.
There
club.
you go.
Justin Kozach, at TraderTV Justin on Twitter. Check him out, guys. Thank you once again, Justin. We'll talk again tomorrow.
Yes, we will. Have a great night.
Interesting topics, guys. I mean, that Instagram story we mentioned going back a couple months ago. Good to see it finally getting off the ground. I mean, it's only 10 users, as we said, but you know, a start.
Yeah, and thank you. I think it's D Queen there for the super chat. Mental health home advantage, and you know, I'm commending not just you guys for doing that talk, but Justin especially for coming out and bringing that attention to light, especially during COVID and everyone staying at home. It's not a normal thing. And speaking of that, you know, we try to engage with the group here. I wish it was the real Allen Iverson, but you sent the super chat for $2 and asking about Matterport. I don't know if this is what you want to hear, but since it came to market, this SPAC, look, it's another one of those, made a nice run to the upside. The support's obviously already been broken, but it just today broke major support. Like this would be a situation where I think when you have these things in the pullback, and I kind of talked about this with things like a Virgin Galactic, something along those lines. Like, are you in it to say that this is an amount that I'm putting in, I'm willing for it to go to zero, it is a pure spec shot play, and I have an amount that I'm willing to lose? Is it that type of a play, or is this not that? Because if it's not that, then it would have made sense to have a stop back round here when it retook this level 1285. That's come and gone today. So you got to establish it out if it's that type of a play for you. And candidly, I think it just broke that kind of a level today, which maybe that's why you're asking about it, but certainly now you've got to figure out first, determine like what does this mean to you? Like, is it an amount that you can't hold? Is it you can't hold to zero because you know this is just another one of the beat up names that might not perform well this year, and it just broke some pretty significant major support. You know, it's just going to tell you what we see here and what the trends that we've been noticing on some of these similar names, and I think that's the best that we can do. I did get into Pixie while the interview was going on. I would have taken it right here at 70s, but there was that buyer for 150,000 shares, so I let that drive it up a few cents. I got a 75 short, 76. I'm actually on the offer to get more at 75. I haven't been able to get filled at that price. And then I also got into Peloton. If you remember, I'm going to quickly, if I can, on Peloton here, just sort of show you if you go back to like early in the week, I guess it was late last week, and then all of last week, where you had this 32 support, broke, turned into resistance. We bounce, we come right back into this resistance. We've made one top, failed break through that price at 32. I'm now short in front of that top. So, you know, that's another case of support and resistance. That's support turning into resistance. Another easy way to find good levels for support and resistance, keeping it simple. Was it a previous good level of support? When it breaks that level, does it hold it a couple of times the other direction? Once it does that, use it for resistance. So doing that right here on Peloton.
All right, we'll spin it. While you were gone, more money, more problems right now. Look at this SoFi reload down here. I have no idea why this is. I just noticed this right now. Maybe if I switch stocks and then put it back to something else. DWAC falling back in. We didn't take the $1.50 there, by the way. As I told you, we're trying to hold out, baby. So let's see if we can make some money and go back now to SoFi and see if it, it's not showing the candle now, but it's coming back down. So we did reload at 04 right there and then took it back into the upside. So a nice little win one more time. And we told you we were putting on the biggest position of the day on SoFi, and there it is right there. Look where some of these outs were, 19 and 20 on that break of the moving average. So yes, sir, SoFi definitely right now a chicken dinner winner, and we called that earlier, man. We knew that we were going to look at SoFi. And then, by the way, also a nice one here as this goes all the way back up. And look where we got out, 78 and 80 right into here on Ford. We talked about taking that 73 break as well, in and out there as we had a keystroke mistake. But now we're back in and we're long. You could see 71. Yeah, what does it show on the screen? It's 71.9 right now, so because we had the average in there. But a nice move upside there to 80s. So our best out is 78 right now. Then that out right there is 77. So we'll see if that can come through. And then again, SoFi with the reload. Bang, bang. Let's see if we get back up to 20. I really think that that's a great opportunity for that one. DWAC, okay, DWAC, I see you. You did come all the way back down to almost where we got in. And let's see now if it takes out 80.50 one more time. Someone said, is DWAC dead? No stock is dead, but the problem is it's 305 right now. So Neil and I have to be flat at the end of every single day. So these aren't positions, like we don't judge them based on where we think they may go tomorrow or anything like that. These are just straight scalping plays at this point. I'll try to hold, like I said, for as much as I can on these plays, but I'm here to make some money. So if it drops below 78, like we've already identified, then I'm going to be gone. So I'm not just going to hold it just because. We have reasons for all of our trades, and that's why we tend to have the success that we have. We have over 21 million viewing minutes or something. Is that what it is? It minutes that we have? I don't know what that number is, but
over they did hours, but it can't be
21 million hours.
That seems way too much.
Maybe. We're 3 hours, 21 million. Yeah, that seems too much. But thank you guys again. 270,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for that as well, as it seems like what we're doing is working. So I want to give a big shout out to everybody on the chat. Okay, here we go. So see, sometimes I get a chance here. K-pop music. What's up, buddy? I hope you're jamming to some of that music. I have no idea. Is BTS K-pop? I don't know. So
you're asking the wrong person.
What's your take on Tesla? So Tesla, as far as long-term, I am a super flosser of Tesla. We love Tesla for long-term. I think that's absolutely great. I recently sold at 10.25. Everybody knows that. Again, if you want to follow me, you can. I have no problem, telling everybody what my trades are. But as you see, we missed the opportunity. We sold it at 10.25. It came right back to 1,200. And then this bottom here at 9, that's where I want to reload. I don't know. We reloaded into Goldman today. Not reloaded. We took an initial spot on Goldman today. And I just feel like I got to leave some powder. I'm already huge in the money like many of you guys are on Tesla. But if you're starting a new trade today for Tesla, let's have a quick look here. Obviously a profitable company, so they don't really fit like the inflation is bad kind of rhetoric here. But again, Tesla, I don't know. Honestly, just from what we do here, I think holding 1,000 makes sense because you've bounced off 1,000 a couple times. The ultimate bottom there was 980 made back on the 10th. So we've held 1,000 there. The lowest we went was 997, let's call it. And then this is this morning, right? So what's the day low? 995.40. So I think here, worth the shot. But again, with the NASDAQ kind of bouncing around, I wouldn't give this one as much room as it needs. So that's why I'm not really on this. I haven't traded Tesla a lot. And those of you that are watching now that have watched, I've been very specific. I used to kind of be all over the place, but right now I'm trying to stay as focused as I can on a few names. So I'd rather look back at a name like Lucid today, maybe for a trade that we've been on Lucid a lot today. Look at all these fills. It's ridiculous, all these fills on Lucid. I have over 383 trades today. I have 128 of them on Lucid alone. So you want to talk about scalping. Marissa, get the wine ready and or get some sort of a CBD cream or something to get ready to work these shoulders, because it's been a very, very busy day. But at the same time, more money, more problems. So we'll worry about that after, as we're stacking it up right now. We're in 3 positions, 70 cents, 5 cents, 5 cents. So we're going to have to wait. But I like all of these trades. Hopefully SoFi can get going to 14.35 or so.
Yeah, I just broke the top on a Peloton. I tried a quick reversal. Let's see if I can get the deal. I actually just got the shares a little bit late, so now long through the high of the day. But someone had said something which I kind of wanted to come back to if I can quickly, because I felt like it was like, oh, is DWAC dead? If you're talking about, there's always a difference between day trades and long term. Anything that has a future catalyst, it's not going anywhere. The news story is that eventually you're gonna get the launch. Theoretically, a President's Day, who knows if that's going to be held true, but there is a potential future catalyst, and it's still, like we said, it's still in an upward channel technically, as long as it holds the support today. So there's a big difference between, are you going to see the highs today, high levels from today? You're probably not going to at any point for the rest of this day, but certainly as an overall trend trade, was it dead the last time it pulled back? Obviously, the answer is no. And as long as there's a potential catalyst here, I don't think that's necessarily true once again here. So that's just my take. I don't think Vinco Ventures is dead as a potential day trade whatsoever, because it's giving you shorts and eventually a good long off 4. It's now coming right back into a level that I think I wanted to short it the first time. So that's going to be off of this like 450 to 465 in VWAP price area. So Vinco Ventures I want to get into. That level, that guy is still there in the bid of 170 at Pixie. So I didn't take anything out. I guess I could have gone like 76s to 71s in front of it, but I'm trying to get more share short at 75, so I'd rather play that side of the trade. But I am now offering a little bit further away on Vinco, as it's already failed once at 450, so I'll start the position in front of that 450 level, and then Peloton reversed into a long off that break at 32.10 was the high of the day. I got 16s to the top. I'll give it about to the quarters on the way back in. Again, 32 is the key level, so I'll use it as resistance. Once it breaks, we'll go back to thinking it's going to be support, and then try to keep the stops relatively tight. If it continues to run, fantastic. I know where I'm going to be wrong. That'll be at 31.75.
So I wish I remember who did this, but this is, you can find the tweet here. Here we go. Sean, the People's Trader. Obviously, I believe this is Goldberg, because I can see sort of the markings there, because it looks very similar to me, but I don't have that tattoo right there. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's how you know it's not me, but shout out to whoever did that, and thank you so much. If you haven't checked out this DWAC highlight video yet, please do it. This was a shout out to Rob, shout out to whoever made this. I believe it was Rob Lucas, whoever did, but this is great. And there's also if you watch it here, this was one of the best days of DWAC. This is when they got announced. It was one of my, the most fun days on the show period. There's Trader Pratt going off right now. That's when we knew we had somebody there with Trader Pratt was going insane. And we love the energy. Thank you so much, Trader Pratt. There are a lot of people commenting on it. No, I think it's Goldberg. I don't think it's The Rock. But, The Rock is the people's champ. I
just checked. I think that looks like Goldberg. I saw Goldberg's tattoo. That's Goldberg's tattoo.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm a wrestling fan. Although I shouldn't say that I haven't watched wrestling in 20 years. But
well, I mean, the Goldberg reference kind of dates us, doesn't it?
I think he was recently one of the champs in AEW.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good for him, man.
You know who else made a comeback? CM Punk. CM Punk's one of my favorites of all time. Yeah. Really, I mean, I got to represent Canada, so I mean, you got to love Christian, Bret Hart, Edge.
Of course.
I have an Edge shirt.
Look, Bret Hart all the way, baby. It's all
yeah, Bret Hart's fine. But I mean, Bret Hart was, he had some issues there near the end with that spitting and everything. But I do like Kurt Angle. So you go from American to Canadian, with obviously Kurt Angle is American's hero or something. But I like all those guys. I also like the Big Show. I mean, there's so many guys. Yokozuna. I mean, there's so many great.
I thought you were going to say the Big Boss Man. That's how you date yourself.
Yeah, Cobb County, Georgia. I mean, who knows that?
Boss man, baby.
Put that into Google. Mick Foley. Come on. Yeah. I mean, I'm more of a dude love kind of guy, if you know what I'm saying. But
I'm surprised Trader Pratt yelled out the Mick Foley. I'm a fan of that one. Look, you got to be able to know when a break's going to happen. So Peloton here, you know what? I might scalp a little bit of this out just because I see a little resistance on level 2 and a kind of a little bit of a turn here. So I'll take a quick little scalp out of Peloton, see if I can't get some more shares off that 32 level. And again, this is playing off 32. Like you short in front, long the other direction, willing to go both ways off of the key level. Like that's the thing. Like it broke the key level. You had a nice little checkup here consolidating. So you you knew it wasn't pulling back immediately. And then if it makes the run at 32.50, we'll get it all out. Otherwise, I'm looking to reload off of 32 even. So that's so far working out for me. I just got on the offer of Vinco Ventures and of course didn't get the fill. So I feel like that's the way that one's going. A no break of 685. Like this Vine is doing nothing, but it goes right to 685. This was exactly where my stop is. And there's nothing crazy about it. This is where it was in the pre-market. It goes to 85s. It tried to test that level after the open. It couldn't break 85s. It goes to this on a dime. It goes one more penny and I'm stopped out. Instead, it reverses. Now I'm on the bid. I might get a winner, but that's razor thin. Like that's a coin flip. Like your level, effectively it went to my price level. So might end up with the win here on Vine, but definitely by the skin of my teeth. I think that's how the phrase goes.
Yep, I like that phrase. And bang right now. How you like those phrases as well? To the moon we go. SoFi back up to $14 again. Oops, we're doing this again, Brittany. So let's free Brittany. Let's free these trades. As SoFi right now going up to the upside. Here we go again. Yeah, we're bringing the energy for you guys. You asked for it on the chat, and it is now back in the building. Look at Ford, 2280. Okay, this is not a bad spot. Let's offer here. We'll probably get taken out, hopefully right away, as it goes to the upside. DWAC, though, there it is again, guys. You spin the wheel of DWAC, and let's see what it comes up to. All right, this is a little bit anticlimactic. There it is, jackpot. I think we should do more to that jackpot there. It just says like jackpot and leaves the screen. But there we go, a nice little win to the upside. As we continue to go, man, this has been a fun day. I hope you're enjoying it, but there goes SoFi again. Let's go through 21s, man. This is exactly the kind of stuff we're talking about. You take the risk. Look at the trades we have on, man. Ford, DWAC, SoFi. We're pumping them all to the upside here, and they're just going. So that's a good trade for us. I want to check in on my bank position that I'm trying to hold for 10 years. Still 348. We just
don't prat it.
Bought gold. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to look at this and be like, oh my God. But Prad's DraftKings, I mean, I tried to tell him to stay away from that. But he went into DraftKings. What are we at? 21. Buy more?
Nobody said that.
No, Bradley. I mentioned to Mr. Pitt over there that he should be buying some Disney, which is also down from where I mentioned it. So I like Disney into a portfolio as a growth aspect because he's already overloaded on some growth names. So let's see where it goes from here. But anyways,
I wouldn't mind him adding a dividend name. Like if you're that overexposed to growth, which I mean, it's like you're starting a portfolio. So if you have 3 or 4 names, you're going to be. It's easy to be overexposed at that stage, and he has a lot of time to figure it out. But certainly adding one of those makes sense. Someone just put in the chat they bought Netflix recently, asking our thoughts about it. And we talked about the price increase that they just had. It's like Netflix is at great levels, but it's not necessarily super cheap. But I mean, starting it at $5, if you just recently bought it, I can't think of a reason why you'd be selling it here. It's already it's pulled back off $700 to $500, right? So that's exactly where you'd want to start nibbling into it. So if you did that, don't freak out over 1 or 2 down days. The whole point of buying things as they come down that you like in front of price levels that you like is that you're willing to start and initiate and then sort of wait it out. So it's okay to nibble. Maybe you don't want to add to it until you retest 500. We get a little bit deeper into earnings season, you can get a better read on it. But I don't see any reason to panic on a Netflix. So I can't think of one reason that you'd think badly about sort of nibbling into Netflix here. I personally own shares of Disney. I don't actually own Netflix, but there's nothing wrong with it here. I think it still absolutely works perfectly for you there. And by the way, that level on Pixie, I got to pick a different level to try to get back in. That 140,000 share guy, he gone. It's down at VWAP. I'm going to get out if I can in front of VWAP and just sort of take that. I wasn't able to get that bid as I was yapping away there, and then it flushed through that level. So I think from what I could tell, that got filled. That offer got filled when I canceled because I had 4 offers at 25 there as I was trying to get some shares. But if it comes back, I'm going to try shorting it in front of that 70 level, that 71 where the buyer was before. But Pixie, that big buyer gone. You see what happens. It looks like he got filled because there was a volume spike, but I can't say I was watching the level 2 at that moment to confirm it. But once again, find a key level. This had rejected off of the top. Find a good retracement entry point, and then just take that trade. It goes right into VWAP, which it's done several times here today.
All right, so we're going to wait on here for DWAC. You know what? I mean, I know I said that we try to hold this for as long as we possibly can, but honestly, we're bouncing back up again here on DWAC, where you can see the NASDAQ making a move down here to the bottom side. So this this could be an area to get out. I was sort of hoping that we would get back to VWAP here, 82. I'm going to hold on to it, but just to let you guys know, there is a good trade here, I feel like, in this area right now, even to get out. I mean, I don't have tons of shares on DWAC, but I feel like this is an awesome opportunity right now to get some out. It's just ripped up. It just was at 78.90. You're up about $1.20. And I don't know, like if you had 1,000 shares or something, you might want to take this because this is a very, very volatile name, but we are out if it does break above. I can't be happier with what SoFi's been doing, man. I mean, that's been a big trade. We check back in on our Softy. Why are we not into Softy here? Okay, Softy, where's my buy trigger? 09, so yeah. Oh, we almost, wow, Softy. Man, we got close to getting wrecked right there. Like, if this goes up 10 more cents, I punch that long. And, we do have our hands are what's trading, but we do put in stop orders. So I didn't even, see this. There's no... I don't know. I'm taking this order off. That's 3 times here. 1, 2, 3 that we've bounced off 09. So Microsoft right now, I do like it. I thought we could get a runner through here, but you could see now with this 50. I mean, is that right? I mean, it is. It's a 50-period moving average. That's right. I mean, it's on our 1-minute chart. So 50-period moving average there on the 1 minute. That's exponential. It's using the close. So if you guys want to know what I have there, but it was up here more, and I liked it better through 309. So right now we'll cancel that. I'm just going over some of the trades that I have, and that's the only other.
I want to quickly see.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We missed something on the midday show, and it's weird because Prad just typed in Tesla at 1,000 and made me think of this because there was a question on the midday show about lithium and the ETF, and I forgot to mention that it was LIT. And in this particular environment, look, I like LAC. I think it has a growth potential, but they don't actually make money right now, so they're a bit depressed. However, the actual lithium ETF is, for the second time, and shout out Goldman, because I know you're looking at it the first time it got to that price at 78. And because I was in LAC, I was just like, I'll wait around for that stuff. But you know what? Right off this 200 period, 50 period up here at 88. The 200 period moving average is right here just below the $80 mark. We bounce off it the first time. I think there's a decent chance. If we get maybe a chance to get in front of that 80 level, this looks pretty good. It's, I guess, an easier way if you don't have a lithium miner that, or that you're a producer that you're in love with, that you think is a good play. This definitely is another way to take that trade. And again, it's bouncing off a level which has worked before. So whether it's a swing or something you want to express, maybe an EV play in this, that's another way to get in there. If you can't pick a winner in the EV space, there's other ways. You can do something like this, or you can get into, and then there's all kinds of things you can be doing. There's other commodities, of course, and these are your charge points of the world, and there's other types of names to be involved in. But it's always about expanding your horizons. And in this case, because I know Lithium Americas is a popular stock, yet difficult to trade around because they're not making money yet, sometimes the ETF is a safer way, and it's at a great level too, which has me interested as well.
Yeah, we had Magna, remember, was another play, MG there in Toronto as well, MGA, I believe it was in New York. I keep getting those.
It's weird in New,
yeah, it's MGA, it's MG in Toronto.
Yeah, it should be the same. Whatever.
Yeah, there's a few like that, like Weed and CGC aren't the same.
They should be the same thing.
Yeah, this was just another play here, Magna, that they're involved in the parts. We talked about that when we had Randy on. That was a good one, but they gave us a little bit of a scare. You remember that, Sam? We were talking about that, and it was when it broke. It was MG here in Toronto. When it broke through 100, I actually got out. So I was long at 102, and I didn't get out of them all. Got out of some, and back down to 98. So not as heavily in this as I should be, but again, I think from 102, I think is where we had that, Sam. So losing $4, now in the money $4. So basically a flat trade there. What's up, B?
VALN, I just noticed here coming up on volume scanner. You can see why. Late in the day, we're making day highs here. This is an ADR, so that's the first point. It's a French pharmaceutical company that came out with data showing that their inactivated COVID-19 vaccine neutralizes Omicron. If you remember, there was a study showing Moderna's does not. So this is Valneva. So apparently they have a vaccine, guys, that is good for Omicron, up 50% today.
I mean, okay, I not to get too deep into the whole vaccine thing, we were having this conversation during lunch, or maybe it was earlier this morning, but if you have these vaccines that work for Omicron, then Omicron's gone in a few months and we're on to the next one, and Omicron's not as serious. Is having a vaccine for Omicron even that good? I don't know. My first instinct is to fade that a little bit, but either or. Good shout out in the chat to this name, EVFM, because when we just finished talking about key levels. Well, have a look at this thing. I know it's a penny stock, but it broke this 65 level. Now look at since it's been down here, bouncing off 35 cents. Here's a top at 50. There's a top at 50. Again, 3, 4. One time it broke 5, 6 times. Now one time it's gone past here, and then essentially it's been barcoding. It's not really barcoding every time it pulls back, but essentially on the daily, you're getting enough consolidation, and then you have multiple tests at the same level here, and you're going to look at that 50, but it got to 51. Well, on the offer is 150K on the offer at 51 even, and a triple top, and I just showed you how many times that level is held. So you can play this any way you want. Like you can go short off of this, give it like a half a cent, work it back to view up. You can take a long break here. I'm doing both. Assuming we actually have shorts. I'm just assuming we have shorts of this stock. No, we don't. So I'm going to go long break here if it does, and then pay for shorts to see if I can play it in both directions. But EVFM, that's what we're talking about. Find a level on the daily chart, something that's moving. It's up 29% today, and there you go. There's going to be trading opportunities off those levels.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that great sort of segue. Well, not a segue. I guess what are you talking about when you're past discussions there with the support and resistance, right? I mean, that's perfect. A stock that's moving today, use your support and resistance to find out an opportunity like that. That's right. And thank you guys for watching the show. Hit the like button. We could do a Valeria like count there, but I don't know, Rob, you let me know if you think that's appropriate. But for right now, guys, SoFi, we just cashed that again. I want to show you that. That's why you see some little cash flying around. Look at that, guys. All the way back up. Today, SoFi has just been honestly a piece of work, like longs. I mean, I still wish we had these bottom long at 1350, but we just hit it again. Long. A nice little win there for SoFi. We're almost flat. Actually, off that, Phil, I now have exactly 10% of both of these positions combined left. So you can see a lot more outs. Not every one of these is 10%, but nice outs here on SoFi, nice outs. And, we're using we're using upsized shares because of the day that it is for SoFi, right? So, Brendan.
Hey guys, it's always great to have more likes, and I would love to ask you, please smash the like button, support the community. Guys, we have 3,000 people watching and 633 likes only. I know you like 666 numbers, so try your luck. Maybe you will be that one, but in a perfect world, we would love you to help us to get 1,000 likes at least until the end of the show. Around 30 minutes left. So team, we hope for your help. Smash the like button. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much. And Steve G just asked an interesting question. I do want to make sure I get to it, because what's your take on the NASDAQ 100 faces a pullback of greater than 50%? This is going to sound crazy, but true or not true, Sean, that in one of our meetings, I think it was the last 2 weeks, this discussion actually happened, did it not?
What was it?
It's talking about the NASDAQ 100 facing a potential 50% pullback from the high. So this discussion actually happened.
That was a little irrational.
Okay, but I'm not saying any one of us was the one that thought this was going to be true, but it was still a topic of discussion. None of us thought it was true. I guess that's the way what I'm trying to get at. But
anything could happen. Like, let's
anything
not say.
Can happen.
I just don't see. Go ahead.
Here, all I will say is this. That's really just back to 2020, and not even the bottoms in 2020. A 50% pullback from the top on the Q. That's not even, you're actually talking about April of 2020. So it's not COVID bottoms, and that's just how crazy and how far the market has gone. Now, what would it take for that to happen? I would say you'd probably have to have 8 rate hikes. At least 2 of them would have had to been a half point, let's just say. They need to have that runoff, of course, so the balance sheet would have to happen. On top of that, supply chain issues would still have to be a concern. Inflation would have to hold well above 7%. I'm sure I'm missing something there. At least one of the 2, international issues, whether it's a Ukraine or just pick one, and that's got to blow up. Oil would have to hit well over $100 a barrel. There's just a lot of things would have to happen. Is it zero? No, I'm not going to say it's a 0% probability. I think that's a bit of a tall ask, but hey, it's still only back to 2020 levels. Are there individual stocks pulling back 50%? Well, guess what? That's already happened for names in the NASDAQ, and I think that's more realistic. The higher valuation names, easier to say that some of those, especially that have made it into the index, can have that kind of a pullback. But yeah, that's down to 200. Like, are we talking about this? I don't think so. I'm thinking more worst case, like maybe, like if you pulled back 25% into the 300, I could believe that. I could definitely believe that if inflation stays where it is, and that's going to be a fantastic opportunity for anybody that's sort of looking out for that long term. Those short-term pullbacks, I know they're really bad, but unless you're like in that horrible pocket where that's the 1 or 2 years where you really needed that money, which it happens, don't get me wrong. A lot of times it ends up being a fantastic buying opportunity. Anybody that traded during 0809, you have a very different look at it. If you were young, you were at a point where you're putting money into the market, you didn't care about that 2 or 3 year time frame. Much different outlook on what happened in the financial crisis than I think some people, who obviously it was a horrible event. I don't think it would be nice that we went to 300 on the Qs, but it still would provide a lot of people with a longer time frame a fantastic opportunity there. But 200, come on, son. Come on, son.
Yeah, I don't think we go. I mean, there's so many more interesting things happening in the world right now as far as even earnings go. I mean, Microsoft, everybody right now, a lot of the big companies that are leading this rally to the upside just have real earnings. And I think that's what's a lot different. And people, got to remember that there are going to be always names that get absolutely cleaned. We've already seen that, man. I mean, I've already talked about it. Clover, $2, right? Like TDOC, 52-week low, $75. Like there's some names that just get, I don't know, like CGC, Square, Space. Like there's so many names that those names have already retraced 90%, right? So, I mean, it's like for the whole market to go down, yeah, it needs to be pretty catastrophic. But I mean, we're loving life right now, even though the market has failed. Why? Because we have our trusty stop orders out, right? So we talked about holding less than 10% left on this name. Out when it breaks. So that's a 4-cent hit on 10% of our position. Okay, so that's nothing. Ford, same difference, man. Out for flat, actually, our last 10%, right? So, we hit this all, we celebrate it, then it comes to the downside. Now it's possibly a chance to reload. But with the NASDAQ, look where we are right now. The NASDAQ starting to... man, I hate when we close near day lows, man. It looks like we're about ready to do that. We had the poll going about with the NASDAQ, I think it was the ES. They're both down 0.46 right now, actually. Now that's down 0.5, but both red today, and I don't know if we're going to get back up. We need to take something out here, and I just don't know heading into what's going to be tomorrow, Thursday. I mean, there's nothing fantastic about tomorrow. We have more regional banks that are going to be coming, so watch out for that, because tomorrow you're going to see another red market, unfortunately, in the financials, I have a feeling, which makes you think, like, why did I buy Goldman today if I think that for tomorrow? NVIDIA's right back down near a key level. Do we want to reload it? I mean, we've already taken a big win on NVIDIA, so there's a possibility. So we'll see here what we want to do. It's right back in. We already took this. Look at this clean. Look at this clean trade, guys. One in, one out. Boom, right there. All the way back up to VWAP. So we're coming in. And this time's a little bit different because we are testing near these lows. We'll see if we want to reload this NVIDIA trade almost at the same level, 250, 250. We could take this. I mean, we could lose $2 on this if we have to. Back down here, 250. Let's let the NASDAQ settle down a bit here as there goes DWAC. So again, watch out. We're getting, I mean, DWAC just fell off the face of the earth right there. So we're all the way back down to 78.20 right now. Again, completely fine. This is not doing, I mean, it's hurting the net, obviously. A win's a win, right? But not a significant amount of shares here. We tried DWAC. We thought we could get the prayer all the way to the upside, throw out that, that grenade to see if we can get it. Well worth a risk here for me. I mean, this is a trading show, but I'm going to try to trade as much as I can. Just right now, the only long I'm in is DWAC as the market is just spilling right here.
Yeah, my was actually unrelated, but I was saying because it's EVFM. I did just get into it. I talked about going both directions off that 51 level because I liked it. It's like you talk about level, you get that support resistance. It's just that I saw 150,000. I showed you guys on the level 2, and I don't really see it there anymore. It's still a significant level, so the price level holds true. I'm just not seeing the offer. It might just be it's not showing up in that gateway deeper in the book because there's too many price levels in between because they trade in the fractions of the cent. But either way, I am now into that EVFM. I took some profit on Peloton. The second half broke back in. So on the long, we'll be flat on the long. We did lose on the short Peloton off of 32. And back to Miss V, the Tesla Maven today, I heard. And you haven't talked about it. You should.
Well, I have a beautiful short on Tesla today, Neil. Thanks for asking. And I've got a super chat for you guys from Sayanel Jah. Sean and Neil, thoughts on holding DWAC overnight? Well, guys, we're day traders. We have to be flat by 4 p.m. Eastern, but I'm pretty sure you have some thoughts on DWAC.
So, like, as with all overnight risk, understand that your stop is only as good as, you can always gap through a stop, right? Like, so understand that that's always going to be true. And we talk about support and resistance. The other risk that you have, I'm on lines here, so if I press, I got to get off this. So yeah, the other risk, of course, is if you can't trade out in the pre-market, like what happens if you try to hold an overnight swing off of that low, you get in the money, it pops again in the pre-market to like 90 and then reverses. Well, that's 10% that if it, let's say it flushes by the open, so make sure if you're trading something that's holding overnight, understand your risk levels, because your stops, one, you're right here, and that's not going to be any good to you in an overnight. You probably are starting to think about like these levels back to like 71, 72, or deeper into like this 66 level. So like I think you look at those, and if you can stomach that, that's your overnight risk. You cannot realistically have a stop at the low of the day today and expect that to be able to cover you for an overnight trade. Like that's the first step. But overall, you're still in an upward trend. I think the same thing as Vinco. It's like as long as you're respecting some of the levels that have been good on the way up, have yourself a bit of an out. Like, am I going long in DWAC? Absolutely not. I'm not doing it the same way, but I also wouldn't have shorted the thing either. That's just not my jam. So it's got good levels. I definitely want to play off of them. Just don't expect to respect this overnight, but there's certainly upside holding back to what was a nice consolidation breakout at 72. Risk to reward, that's not bad at all. As a day trader, I can just come in tomorrow, and if it goes down, I can trade off of that level. So it's a lot easier for us, and a lot of times it helps you to think pretty cleanly off of those. Just so you know, this. I didn't talk about any targets on EVFM, the penny stock. It just turned around off of 50, and I got 50 and a half short. It just rounds the number down to 50 cents there. It's like 50.4 that I had to the short side. I'm going to get on the bid here around 48.5 and then down to VWAP because it's in an upward channel. Want to make sure, 25 minutes left, that we're taking profit because like we said, you got to be flat at the end of the day, which means got to already start the work to get out.
All right. Yeah, exactly. There's only, not too much time left. Lots of time left, though, if you're trading still. But yeah, definitely keep your key levels in mind. Okay, we're reloaded. We talked about taking this here, and we will now do that on NVIDIA. So here it is, right back into that same level that we had last time. So we're actually long at 250. Well, you can see the price, 252.18. We'll see where it goes from here. Downside, we will average in, and then it's going to be a simple out. Like down here, we'll see where it goes. We're not going to give back what we've already made on this name. We already take the $5 or $6, whatever. This was clean the first time. Let's see if we can do it again. I'm looking like near this moving average. See if we can take about that's about a buck. That's about $1.50 if we get back to this 1 minute 50 period moving average right here. So if that happens, then we'll take about $1.50 on it, which is almost the ratio here that we're giving this. Now I had to get in a little bit early. This is going to be a little more aggressive than a 1-to-1, but we'll see what happens here. Try to get out of half, and then if the market does somehow turn around, we will be able to exit it hopefully a little bit higher. I don't think we go back up here unless the market somehow completely turns around, but you guys wanted me to reload. The People's Trader will reload, so here we go. We're reloaded. What's up? Never going home. You're reloaded as well. Sure, we can look at some Lucid quickly. Lucid's been, net-wise, a bad stock for me today because we had too much risk on right here when it started to rip up, and then we went long right in there at 40.50 and able to make some money. Everything's been fine since the open, but there was just a little bit too much risk put on here on Lucid. And again, it looks like, and I don't know, Brendan's going to find out, and I don't think he had much luck finding out, but the Lucid lockup might actually be tomorrow. So we're going to find out. It doesn't look like there was very many shares sold here today, and I think based on something that we saw, and maybe Brendan can confirm this, but it was 11:59 tonight, we thought maybe the lockup was. But again, I don't think we have too much more confirmation, but when we're ready, or if Brendan found anything, he can come back on that one. But I think that's like a no-fly zone. We'll just see tomorrow if there is more information on it. But Lucid today, I got it. Lucid today, not a great stock for me, but not a bad one either. What's up, Brendo?
Yeah, it's a little confusing, guys, just simply because it was a SPAC, right? So is it, when the deal is actually finalized, or is it the first trading day when the deal is actually finalized? So if it's the first trading day, it was July 23rd, but it was 11:23 or something along those lines a.m. was the first press release. So it was already into the trading session. So does that mean it's Monday then? Because July 23rd was a Friday. So July 26th then would be the first official trading day. So we're going to do some more digging on that. But it's a little gray because I think it's a SPAC versus an IPO. IPO very cut and dry because there's a start date and then you just go out 180 days from that start date, right? That's what I came up with anyways, guys.
Yeah, and look, it's again, like I'm sort of with you. Like that's how I had it in my head. But we always try to learn things, and we all learn things in real time. There's a good question here, and again, we don't care how long you've been trading, level of experience, we can all learn. Giorgio, can we explain what a lockup is? So anytime a new issue comes to market, whether it's an IPO, sometimes in the case of a direct listing, I think maybe like one or two in the last couple of years, direct listings sometimes have lockup periods. Initial early investors, a lot of the times the condition will be that they have to hold on to those shares for X amount of time before they can sell. So often 180 days in the case of an IPO before they're allowed to sell the shares. That's just so they don't, it doesn't come to market and then dump on the first day. And then all the people that invested on that first day get absolutely burned. Doesn't mean that IPOs can't lose on the first day. They certainly can, but there are initial investors that are restricted from selling until that date is hit. And that's why you can see some volatility around those lockup expirations, because sometimes that's the first opportunity for early investors to cash in on their trade, and they go ahead and do that. And even if it's a fraction of the position, it can be significant. So we're all going to be learning here. So hopefully, if Lucid maybe it moves tomorrow, who knows? It certainly at times didn't behave like this morning, like the lockup was expiring.
I mean, it definitely wasn't today.
I mean, the price action is telling you that.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, all that I learned was really not much other than watch the price action, because honestly, like if we don't have it on our system there, but it looks like it wasn't today. So we'll trade it tomorrow, completely fine. We can have a negative stock on the day. Our account is not negative, which is what matters. It's all at the end of the day, all about that cash, but I hate when we give the wrong information. So apologies for that one. Okay, SoFi making a move, Peloton up 5%, Rocket up, Facebook up today, Microsoft up today, but back down to 305 right now. Yeah, there it is, 30. Oh man, this is again, we're long NVIDIA. If I wasn't, man, I mean, there's so many different opportunities. I'm just watching this NVIDIA trade just bounce around right now. Give it to them, Brendan.
I just to further on that a little bit. There's a lot of resources, there's a lot of sites also quoting today. So, I don't think we necessarily gave the wrong information. It's just a matter of, because it's a SPAC, there's a little more detail involved that we need to clarify on whether it's, the first day of trading when the SPAC deal is confirmed to be finalized, or is it the next day after that first day when the deal is finalized? So it's a little bit different than an IPO. But I mean, there's lots of websites that are also saying that it's the 19th, right? Like that's where we got that date from in the first place. So as we said, we will look into it further.
I just know that I got to stop voting on, every time I voted for positive on the market holding up, and today was for some reason it was our poll was the NASDAQ, it was the ES in the morning show, in the midday show, market movers, where the ES would finish positive. And I, again, voted for green, because at the time, I'm like, okay, if we're in the green, I'm going to vote for green pretty much every time this year. And once again, the market rolls back over, and it's just 0.5% back into the downside. This is what we're looking at. But the only reason I bring it up, it's more the NASDAQ, I should say. The NASDAQ going right back into morning lows. As we see here, like this 15.1 level. And then, if that gets taken out, then we're into overnight lows as well. So another rollover in the overall market. I don't think it's like this isn't remotely related. This is probably more to do with, it's just a key level on that EVFM, shorted it in front of the 51. There was a buyer very briefly for 300,000 shares at 50. That got broken, and then the second it broke, I was able to get shares out at 49. So I'm going to have more bids in here in the 48 range, 47s all the way down. I'll get some out at VWAP as well. But just identifying key level. When you're short 50 half, your risk with slippage is essentially 1 cent. So yeah, you're taking 1 cent profit, 1.5. You got to think about, imagine, what would you do if it was a $5 stock or a $50 stock? You'd sort of played along those lines. But good is a shout out to Dominic in the chat for pointing out EVFM, because once you call up that daily chart, this is the thing, sometimes you keep it simple. Look at the daily chart. How many times does it come to this exact price level, and then it triple tops there today? and then you're able to make trades off of that level pretty much all day long. And I'm hoping tomorrow too. Like, I'm going to have this one up tomorrow. And if we can trade off the same level 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, we're going to go ahead and do it, because why would you not? Go to the well until the water runs dry. I forget who did that song.
That's right, though. I mean, that saying is right.
TLC?
Don't go chasing waterfalls?
No, there's a line from a song. I don't know. Anyway, so
yeah, I think it would be that song, though, right? Don't go chasing waterfalls, but we'll see. Okay. Anyways, we've just adjusted this a little bit. We'll take $1. We were going to take about $1.50 on the first bid here, but there goes NVIDIA, man, off the reload. Many would already take this. We are going to take $1 on this, hopefully, if it goes up to the upside. And we're halfway there. It's 55 cents now in the money, so hopefully it gets going. Yeah, Boys to Men. Yeah, it's a good one. BBD. We'll see what happens there with Belle Biv DeVoe, but Boys to Men, a good one. Motown
Philly.
Yeah, Motown Philly's back again. All right, so I don't know. It's the only trade I'm in right now and looking to get into some more, but AMD 129. We talked about Softy as well.
We can talk about VWAP.
Sure.
We love VWAP, and again, sometimes it's about keeping things simple. I'm not saying VWAP is like the greatest thing in the world, but when taking retracement trades or bounces off the lows, a lot of times covering at VWAP is just an obvious price target area. So Pixie's giving you a couple of levels, the lower high at 75. You could have taken 70s, but I told you that big buyer allowed you to get a better price. Then we took short off of 70. Both trades were taking out right here at VWAP. So just a quick little idea off. And that wasn't as key a level there. That's more watching it reject off of 185 and then seeing the consolidation volume had trimmed down a little bit. So good opportunity to be able to get in and out. I have one leg left. Just in case it completely flushes, I try to get like 155 down here. I'll get on the bid just in case. But guess what? 5 minutes and then the imbalances come out. So this is flying by. We got 15 minutes in the day. Market just broke lows. Oh, yeah, we just broke the lows again. But 15.1 did bounce on the NASDAQ. Hopefully it can hold there. We have 5 minutes until the imbalances come out. That's got to really start trimming some positions, because I'm still in this Vinco Ventures reentry, and it's testing the VWAP. And I was going to give this to VWAP, but I don't know if there's enough time to let this trade work itself out all the way up to 65 and then rolling over. Only 15 minutes, and it took 10 minutes just for it to get here.
All right, we're going to take it out right in front of 353. So we'll take out half for 85 cents right there on NVIDIA. And it's just like I gave up like 30 cents. It's just I'm kind of, now that you mentioned the imbalances are coming out, I completely like lost track of time there. So we'll take out half for that 80 cents there on NVIDIA just to add it. All we're sort of doing right now is dropping grenades and sort of just upping our, there we go, love that one. And just sort of stacking out right now some cash as we go. So we'll see what happens here, but it looks like a nice move to the upside there for NVIDIA. And good thing we took some out. Look what happened, man. It cracked right back down. We just took this out at 95. And it's right back down to where we got in. So yeah, sometimes we got some good decisions. What is this? Oh, falling down a hole. Bye-bye, market. There we go, down to the downside right there as it's cracking lower, lower, lower. What a good out that was. Wow, I had no idea that we were going to be lucky enough to do that. Okay, let's just figure it out here on everything else. Walmart, upside, Peloton. I mean, I don't want to, we're getting close to the imbalances. Like, I don't really want to take any new positions. Let's just talk about some ones that are moving. Peloton back to $32 today. Obviously, we've taken a flyer at this at 40. It's down a lot. We'll see what happens with Peloton, but a nice move today, up that 5.5%. This is another one of those names that's just in the basket of like hope and pray that this stock gets back going. I like Peloton. The bottom's 29. I don't know, man. There's not much to love about Peloton, but we'll see. Again, my whole logic here is that this is a buyout candidate, and as the cheaper it gets, the more likely that is, but we'll wait to see if that ever happens. Most likely not, unless Valeria buys Peloton. What's up, Valeria?
Hey, Sean, Giorgio, and I is asking guys you to take a look at FAST, F-A-S-T. Fastenal just reported earnings before the open today, so we would love you to take a look at the charts for FAST.
Yeah, I'm just sort of reading through. Like, I mean, it looks like, again, like it wasn't on our watch list. I'm going to tell you right now. Like, I did not look at this earnings in the morning, but it's just sort of quickly going through. I can't say that overall these were bad earnings. It is flat on the session, but certainly that's mostly because it's just given back the gap that it had. It's holding some support, looking at the 15-minute chart. And then if you look at this, it's basically holding right here back at this 58 level of support from before. So yeah, I mean, after a report, it didn't really break back out to the upside. But, as more of a leaning into a growth side, I can't say that this is overall bad. That looks more like a nibble area. And the reason I've been adding like the 200 is just to keep things into perspective. And we just had the question about like how far could the NASDAQ pull back? And I think a lot of times, if you don't have a higher period like moving average, sometimes you can think, it's not going to go too much further than back this like 10%. But a lot of times, yeah, like you pull it back and it's like, this has room to like 55. Like that's where the breakout recently happened of its latest range, right? That's where the 200 period is. So I'd let it settle down after earnings. They looked like a pretty good report to me. So I can't say like, this is what you want to do. Like you want to be finding names that you like, that don't have bad reports, first of all, that at least make money, and then pick some key levels. Now, personally, I've been leaning into the 200 period for most of the names that I like, but that's just myself overall. But it's not a totally dissimilar chart from what I was looking at the other day on AMAT. And I also chose to wait back for that 200 period, but that's only $3 from here. I guess that does matter a little bit. Like $3 on $58 stock that's still 5 points. But at the end of the day, I think it's in a pretty solid range. I'd be waiting for 55. I think that's a good support level on a swing. I think that gives you a clean out at 55 even if it were to break. So lots of ways you can play this. Give it a couple of days after earnings to settle down, and there's definitely a good upward trend and some good levels on Fastenal.
Henry, you're killing me, man, with your comments. Good one there. Yeah, Fastenal, when you make something and you're an industrial, I think it's a good to pick some up now, especially if you need to be diversified. And I think that's everyone needs to be diversified. NIO, okay, that's pretty low now, near 20. The futures, the imbalances coming out very soon. NIO right now, NEO, 28 was a level that I liked. For longs, just for day trading here. We can see, again, this is one of those names. Where's the day chart? Oh my God. Oh, still not there. I don't know where it is. I thought I just saw it. Where's my day charts? Hold on a second. There it is right here. So we could take another look here at NIO here on a daily. I like 28 for support coming through. You could see it's hit a couple times, in which case it's bounced every single time, obviously, off this 28 level. But NIO, again, if I'm not mistaken, I think it has an okay PE, but in China, they don't even list it because it's in China. But not making any money is NEO, so actually they won't have a PE, but still a downside move. I like this name. Ooh, look at the market right now, cracking lower, as that was a good out for NVIDIA. Now we'll try to reload this, but it doesn't look like, the imbalances, what am I doing?
Oh my goodness.
The imbalances just came out, we forgot all about them. Enbridge with a buy, that's good, man. That's, again, I said I'm not in energy, but Enbridge is a big holding of mine in Canada. Probably my largest, that in Bank of Nova Scotia. WFC. I don't really see Intel with a bid. I don't really see anything else here that would be, we could check Enbridge. I know this is not, this is a daily chart. We don't want to look at that. We don't even want to look at a 20-minute chart. Well, the whole market is coming down here. But Enbridge not moving off a 1 minute there. What else is there? There's a couple Canadian names here, CP Rail. That's about it. We could check Intel with a buy. Let's just see what's happening here. I don't know. Yeah, nothing.
Intel's the new Visa with imbalances. Even guaranteed to pair.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these were all pair. But right now, Intel, Intel's going the other way here on that. So I don't know. Nothing, but it does spark a move to the downside. So there must be a bunch of names on here that are sells. They're just a little bit lower as the NASDAQ taking out days low. And
I'm going to shout you out again, Dominic. Thank you so much. We'll do... Oh, goodness. I'll give you the awesome because I'm on this page. Why not? But that EVFM, they just continue to flop. This has nothing to do with the imbalances or the market going down. At least I don't think it does because penny stocks tend to move on their own. But it's starting to break down. I got the next leg out. I still have actually 40% left. So there's plenty of liquidity here, but I am looking to trim this. With only 8 minutes to go, I got out flat on Vinco Ventures because, like I said, there's not enough time to make that play. Like it's not moving anywhere. And I'll say the same thing about Pixie. Like it's not breaking VWAP either. So this is one of those. I'll get on the bid here and see if I can't get it back out at VWAP again. Clearly, it did work this retracement, but it's not. This is not falling off a cliff. I think it would have already done so if that was going to be the case. And same thing with EVFM. If it was going down 10%, it probably would have made that move already. And we're flat in 8 minutes. We have to be out of these positions. So going to have to be a little bit more aggressive getting out. Yeah, that 15-1 got taken out on the NASDAQ, so obviously we're in acceleration to the downside. Like I kind of missed. I was not watching my ES when I saw Apple go to the downside. That's why I thought it was an imbalance.
All right, there we go. Reloaded on NVIDIA, man. NVIDIA, like, starting to be my number one stock. Go NVIDIA. Can we get a 36 right now? We're long another dollar winner right now on NVIDIA. Let's see if it goes to the moon right here. Come on, NVIDIA. We talked about reloading you down near the downside. Get me. I'm at 36. If we can get hit at 36, that would be fantastic. What did it just go to 30 there? Come on. 6 more cents on you, NVIDIA. You can do it. Although the market's coming back down, NVIDIA popping right now. Yeah, that goes to 31. We were at 30. Y'all heard me say 36. So hopefully that can come back in. Here we go. Let's go. 33s. Oh, it just went to 33s there. We may have to change our order as, we're in the money $1 right now. And I'm like worried about 5 cents. So a good trade for NVIDIA as we spin the wheel of luck one more time. But is it really luck? I don't know. We'll see there. Another win for NVIDIA as we're just stacking up cash right now. I can't believe we missed that by 3 cents. And now it's down, way down. So let's change that order, put in the teens. We missed that order by 3 cents. Unbelievable. What's up, Reddit?
Time, guys. A few minutes to go here before we get wrapped up for the day. Just a note on Lucid one more time. Not to keep going back to that, but I'm going to keep going back to that. Another article I was just reading, I mean, I can read this word for word, essentially says, the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia, which owns slightly more than $1 billion of the 1.6 billion outstanding shares, would be eligible to sell the stock beginning January 19th. So according to this deep dive website, it is today. So there's all kinds of different angles that you can take on that. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Let's have a look at what's coming up tonight and tomorrow morning for earnings.
Yeah, I mean, you did get some of the airlines finally coming through here, American and United, but it's then you get the rest of the banking industry, which is some of your smaller banks. But I think we've seen for at least this week some of the bigger names that have come through. And I'm just watching Tesla here right now. Tesla now back below 1,000, but keep in mind, Tesla's broken 1,000. It just broke 1,000 recently. I don't think it's the level that it was before. There's some day traders that obviously I like that 1,000 level on a day trade. We don't have all of our trades showing this week for some reason. But the last time it broke, it got to 980 and held support there. So that's a level I'm still going to be working back into. That 1040 holds as resistance a couple of times. But Tesla, if it holds below 1,000, I think it's that 980 level. It bounced off 980. You go all the way back into November. It then cracked, made that 900 bottom, and then recently it's a 980 low again. So if it holds that support, great. I think it has a chance to get back to the 1040. But that seems firmly in play once again going into tomorrow's action. 1,000 back and forth. I think you get chopped. You've been getting chopped up if you play the 1,000 to a level too aggressively recently. It was great the first time it got there. I guess the second time because it was a split. But certainly this last week, it's been a bit choppy there. I think 980 is your better level on Tesla.
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for sure for 9 bills on Tesla. We'll wait to see there. As I look down here to see what's happening, I can't believe we missed that NVIDIA by 3 cents, and now it's $1 against us. Or not against us, sorry, flat, but $1 worse to the downside. That's okay. We'll get out if it breaks 250. I mean, at least we get to watch it break 250 now to the downside. Yuck. That's going to happen. Look at the NASDAQ, man. We are just like puking out right now, guys. Like, wow. Never a good sign when you're closing near the end of the day or at the low of the day when we close. We're nowhere near 16,000 now, 15,000. So yeah, this market is definitely getting cracked right here. It's been happening for a while. We've talked about getting lighter. You guys know I sold some T-Doc to get out of some of those crazy names. And I just think that that's the right play for now. I mean, we could sit here and say, buy the dips, but if you don't have the cash out, it's not like that's going to work. So you got to try to play the best names you can and just stay out of trouble. And right now, we'll continue to trade the names that we like. On our sticky note today, man, SoFi absolutely destroyed. Lucid, DWAC, Palantir, Microsoft, all names that we looked at. Taiwan semis on look, casino names, Rivian, AMD, as I look at past sticky notes, all the same. Lucid, Baba, AMC. We actually, we didn't really look at AMC today. What time is it? 3:50. Okay, we're almost getting ready to close. But let's look at AMC quickly. 1830. So it looks like it does hold. Are we near the day's low on this name too? No. I was going to say we do hold 18. I saw that earlier, us holding that 18. So we'll see tomorrow, man. Will AMC AMC hold out 418. I still believe there is a squeeze coming at some point, but it's just at what level. And if you could keep reloading, I think you're going to be right about it on AMC. I don't know if we squeeze again to $50, but AMC, obviously a name that's always on retail's mind. So we'll watch that. And then did Jimmy, this is from my man back there, calls this thing Jimmy. Did it break $100 today? No, it does not. Actually, Jimmy holds 104.50. I hate calling it that, so I'm going to leave that to Pratt.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could totally confuse me because I'm like, what stock is Jimmy? But look, when 100 comes on GameStop, every day trader and their mother is going to be looking at it, I think. And that's probably not going to get me away from the trade. I want to go to Activision here because I'm going to try this tomorrow off the same levels. The double bottom at 81.50 held like gold. And then the higher level, at least the first time, the higher level at 82 in the afternoon held pretty well. In the morning, it gave you a wick bottom. But then, if you look at the rest of this afternoon, here's your consolidation 82. And this is not some buyout that's giving you like 2 or 3 cents. This is one that's giving you like 25 to 50 cent wins on an $80 stock. And that's because of how big the spread is from the $95 price. So as long as ATVI is actually moving like this, because it might not forever, at some point if the deal's firm, it's going to eventually settle down. But while it's moving, these opportunities are going to be there to catch like 50-cent dollar moves in the morning. And we want to make sure we're going to that well, because it's not often that you get something with this volume that might have clean levels. There's fundamental reasons why it could hold up. Clearly, I think it's a good chance Microsoft gets this deal done. But I mean, like we said, the market's pricing it in the other direction. And like we also mentioned, the market just breaking lows. Now the NASDAQ is going to be testing 15,000 to end the day. So I mean, there's one thing closing on the lows. It's another thing testing a 15,000 level right here with only a minute to go. I think it's going to be Miss V on the bell because I saw her make the walk right over this. So Miss V is going to be on the bell. NASDAQ, will it hold to 15,000? Because that's what we have to look for. That poll, I once again voted incorrectly, thinking that the S&P 500 would hold the gains that it had earlier today.
Yeah, and I wish that you were correct on that one because
if I vote for the poll, I'm wrong.
It's basically just vote the other way. But I mean, 15,000, yeah, it's low here. We're still in NVIDIA. We're waiting for 250 to break. It's not a huge position or we would cover this, but we do have a chance for it to go back up. We'll see here with only 30 seconds left. It doesn't look like that's a good chance, but NVIDIA right now trying to get off the schneid to the bottom side right now with only 30 seconds left. We're going to go to Brendan after and find out if it was a positive or negative day, but we just talked about that. So we'll see. We didn't talk much about crypto, but crypto moving today as well as BTC is back to 41.5, Ethereum 31. So yeah, lots of movement here today, guys.
Yeah, and dropping the countdown. There she is, Miss V. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ring it above 15.
That's it.
The market is closed. So the NQ they're holding 15032 there on the NASDAQ mini futures. It's down 1%. I guess we'll look for the small victories. It's
a little bit embarrassing, but we just got filled at the same price. So good trade there. We actually just put an offer out at the same price that we were in at. And then you look at all these fills right here. Someone got marketed out there right at the end. 251.23, there it is right there. 251.15, so out again on NVIDIA. Saved by someone that just hit a little bit of a market key there on NVIDIA. So sometimes pays to hold a little bit till the end of the day. Not recommended. What would happen?
Everybody was missing Tony for the bell. I'm just in the chat. Where's Tony?
I can't do everything. Tony's still
here. We'll bring him back. You can't do it every single day. I mean, you can't. You gotta piece it out a little bit. You gotta spread it out. He'll be back this week, but Tony's still in the building. Brendo, we kind of already know, but let's see how the rest of the market fared.
Now let's make it official. Here we go. Pretty heavy selling there once again, 3 days in a row or so into the close. The market selling off pretty heavy, 1% for the S&P, 0.6, 1.1, and so on. Brazil, nice day, 1.3 to the upside. Oil continues its run. Bitcoin, it's run to the downside, guys.
We've already, and a good job there by June, I guess, Tony the Tiger. It's great. Yeah, I've already given him the nickname yesterday, Tony the Tiger, so he'll be back there tomorrow. He said also today, there he is. What's up, Tony? There he is. Yeah. He's just chilling out. Just get to work over there, Tony. Yeah, great. And look, we're excited too. Look at all those stations behind us. You noticing something different? Well, first of all, it has all my layout on it, which first of all. Second of all, getting ready for traders to come through. So hopefully once our government, and I saw that basically England declaring over. So Boris Johnson, fini. No more COVID. Well, he didn't say that, but restrictions are coming off. No masks, no nothing, March 24th. I don't know what crystal ball. Maybe he has C-ball and it spit out March 24th, but March 24th, everybody in UK, congratulations. I mean, I'm saying that because I hope that there's some science behind this, but that's nice that
I just want us to be in time for me. I would love to go back to spring training. I miss going to spring training. I would love to be in Florida in March. At least it's like just a little time off, catch a few games. It's
Sure.
like it's great weather. It's a lot of fun to do. I almost like cursed. I just want to get out again and get some normality, man. Let's get back to it.
Yeah, I'm down with normality, that's for sure. Thank you to Rob. Thank you to Lucas over there today. These guys are killing it. Yeah, Rob, I love how he just throws the lights on right there. Good job there, Rob. Thank you to Miss V and, of course, to Trader Prad, who's over there. I think Miss V will eventually... Where's Trader Pratt? There he is. What's up? And then a big thanks to Tony as well, if we still have that shot. Thank you, Tony. There he is. What's up, Tony? How did you get that so quick? That was pretty cool. Thank you so much. Tony becoming a star here on the show. But we can switch over to Miss V now. I think people want to see Miss V more than Tony, probably. Oh, it's all about Tony. Okay, Tony. So there he is. What's up? Yeah, you're on the stream right now live. So send this. Like I said, Tony, next time you're at a bar, you know, you can show people that you are as well very, very much more famous than us, right? I mean, I don't even know.
The bell ring, it's like do it one time, and it's the best bell ring in 2 years.
I got to figure out, is Tony a father? Is he single? What's going on? We're going to dig into Tony a little bit later. We're going to find out more about him. But thank you so much. Oh no, it's Brendan.
I have good eyes. I didn't see
There's Miss V. Okay, camera's back. All is right in the world again. But thank you guys for another exciting day. The sticky note will be back tomorrow. Miss V, do you have a mic? Just say yes. So how was your day?
Fantastic. Love shorting Tesla today.
Good, a lot of shorts in Tesla, so good for you. And I did hear, you're still a Mercedes girl, right, though? I heard the question, Tesla, what was it? It was Tesla
or Apple?
Apple car, and you said Mercedes.
Yes.
So I like that answer for sure.
Neither.
Good job.
There's no Apple car yet, so that's not really a fair.
Yeah, I mean, there's no Apple car yet, but I think Mercedes will always wind up winning. For the Trader TV Live team, thank you so much. If you want to hear more of this, come back tomorrow, 8:30. We all here, so we'll catch you on the flip side. See you later, guys.
Peace.
Пока-пока.